Okay, I'm recording now. Make your case.
Okay, so are you familiar with the hedgehog dilemma, that idea?
Yeah, from Eva.
Yeah, so it's in Ava. And then it's similar to that. So the hedgehog dilemma, of course, is the idea that humans need to open themselves up to being hurt by each other in order to get closer to each other. So it's sort of like a catch-22. Well, something that I've been thinking about a lot recently is the fact that by communicating with each other, by engaging in conversation, you're having to externalize your identity. Like you're having to take however you perceive yourself and come up with some representation that you then show to the people that you're talking to. So that
Kind of
that represent. Sorry.
like the Asuka,
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
like the Asuka in your own head.
Yeah, so that's definitely that's a good example of like the difference in identities in how I perceive myself versus how you
Okay.
perceive myself. Which is something that, Ava explained pretty well, so I'd already been aware of that. But then I started to think more about how, it's really difficult to even represent yourself internally accurately. Like it's almost impossible to come up with a good representation of your identity even in your own mind, because as soon as you come up with some sort of conceptualization of yourself, that's suddenly outdated because time has passed. Um,
Also, also there's this theory where self-conceptualization relies entirely on mirroring your behavior in others, whereas without like interacting socially with anyone, you wouldn't even have a self-conception. You would just be like a part of the world and just be like a neutral actor.
yeah, I mean, if ethics would allow it, or I guess if ethics were different, I would love to see social experiments where people were raised from birth in empty rooms to see, how their identity forms. But that's not really a thing that we should be doing. But it is interesting because then you would see how that comes out. Well, anyway, basically this comes down to um, it being somewhat pointless to really engage or to expect any sort of meaningful connection with people through communication, because neither one of you is ever going to have an accurate perception of the other's identity because they don't even have an accurate perception of their own identity. Um, so really, all we can hope for is to constantly portray outdated versions of ourselves, and then over time come up with a close approximation of what each individual is like based off of their various outdated approximations. And it's very frustrating to me, but it seems like an inescapable reality. I don't know what to do about it. It kind of just seems like something that just is.
Hmm.
I mean, I think it's just a matter of like not caring about your identity insofar as like you relate to others, like just like completely just forsaking and ignoring the identity you have constructed, just to be someone who can just like organically exist without like a specific identity, I guess.
Well, certainly, I often think of the goal as being to remove identity, like to dissolve identity, to um, not think of, like you said earlier, how there's theories that identity is more just like a mirroring of the external world. So in that sense, maybe the goal is really to stop thinking of yourself as a distinct entity and really just think of everything, and everything could be something as narrow as I guess just like the human race, or as broad as the universe in its totality. But I'm not even necessarily saying like, that if you accomplished that and you no longer thought of yourself as distinct, you would be avoiding the problem. It's really more like it also has to do with language, I guess, because, and especially given the video that Digi released recently, it's got a lot of people talking about, linguistics, or I guess lexicons and lexemes. But by engaging in language or relying on representations of abstract ideas, I mean that's what words are. So even if you dissolve your identity and stop thinking of yourself as a distinct entity, by engaging in conversation, you still end up creating representations of something. And even if you don't think of that something as yourself, the majority of people are still going to be perceiving it as yourself. So I don't know, it's still an issue. At least I still think of it as an issue. Because I don't know how to more straightforwardly... Well, I don't know, I guess... Because a big goal for me personally is to connect with people. But then this sort of gets in the way.
I mean, like, from my perspective, I don't think connecting with people should be a goal. But that just might be, like, my warped psychology. Because, like, connecting with people is a byproduct of just, like, living your life and just acting like you want to act. And then if someone wants to connect with you, that's just gonna happen if it happens, you know? Like, I don't think that's, like, a goal to strive for, inherently.
Well, I guess it depends on what you consider like a connection. I guess I should say like meaningful connection because...
Yeah, I don't think you can create meaningful connections. I think they just have to like arise from just going about your life.
I think I've seen... I think a lot of meaningful connections can be born from trying to understand someone else. Like, when I am with my friends, and then we start hanging out for a long time, and then we start to run into things. Like, we hop in the PMs and we just start talking about shit. And I think that's when the connection starts.
I know for me it's more like, hey, if we enjoy your presence enough to just not care about, like, our actual selves, because our actual selves are fucking retarded, because everyone's actual self is retarded, you know? And I think that's the point where the meaningful connection actually forms, when you just don't care about each other's personal lives anymore, because it's more important how much you just like talking to each other.
That kind of makes me think about what I was thinking when Watakashi was talking about how much of a pain it is to keep track of people's identities because they're constantly changing. I just don't think there's a point in really like trying to do that, because it's obviously so futile, like they said. So there's nothing you can really do except just to be as natural as you can in response to any situation that you're in whatever way feels right. So
See, therein lies the issue, though, at least for me personally. It's like I have a big problem with feeling like the version of myself that I present is not an accurate reflection of, you know, the version of myself that I perceive in my head.
I feel the same. I think I get where you're coming from.
So I spent a lot of time thinking about, do these people, do they really understand me in the way that I want them to understand me? But then by thinking about that enough, I realized, like, well, what is there really to understand? And then the same goes vice versa, because earlier, HollowLilly, I think you were saying that it comes from, or I actually don't know who said it, but it comes from trying to understand each other, because that's where meaningful connections come from. But what are you really striving to understand? Because what is the thing that you're focusing on? Like, it's a person, which is a collection of, I don't know, points in time, but I don't know, I start to struggle to talk as soon as I start to think about like specific points in time, because language starts to become unreliable. Like, it's difficult to discuss an instant, like considering a person in one instant rather than a person as a collection of instances.
Yeah,
it's probably pointless.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of trying to like properly just live as yourself, and at that point, like, I think connections aren't like, hey, what part of another person you like. I think connections are like, what are you willing to put up with from another person? And if it's like reaches a specific threshold and you're willing to put up with a lot, like at that point, I think that's where the connection comes from. Not like from an innate sense of understanding, but from like a position of not even caring if you understand another person.
I think kind of sort of parallel to that is, I think getting connected with people is a lot about understanding kind of how they want to be seen rather than how they act. And then, like, from that position of empathy, being able to tolerate things that you might find irritating about them.
So then what do you think predisposes, I guess, two people to tolerate each other? You know, is it just a decision that you make, like, okay, I guess I'm going to put up with this amount of bullshit from, these types of people, or do you think it's like once you find a certain type of person, then you realize, oh, this is how much bullshit I'm willing to put up with?
Like, I don't think there's like a specific typology. I think you have to approach it as a matter of individuals interacting with each other. So like at some point there are specific individuals who can interact with each other in such a way that they can form a connection where they don't care about the bullshit someone goes through unless it reaches like above the threshold that has been established. And I think that's the connection.
You're both right. It's about values and the fact that we're social animals.
Well, I mean, there's definitely, saying that we're social animals, there's definitely the fact that, like, we need some certain amount of connection, so we're going to be driven to tolerate people to a point, depending on how many options we have. Like, if there's only one other person in the world, you're probably going to be willing to tolerate pretty much anything from that person, because humans will go insane if we just have nobody.
I think that's kind of an interesting part of it, just because I find a lot of the time I end up being forced to connect with people that I normally wouldn't want to, just because I don't have anyone who's like-minded.
Yeah, like...
Well, I've only met one person who was like-minded in my entire life, and then that relationship ended after a week, so...
Hey, can I say a thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Magic mushrooms are really hype. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you for your input.
They're pretty good. They're pretty scary, though.
Is that like a drug?
Yeah.
Active chemical. I could talk about that. Active chemical in magic mushrooms is psilocybin, which
is a neurogenerative.
Yeah, it's very similar to serotonin.
And it's fucking sick. Everybody should do them at least once. And I'm not even saying that as a stoner, because I use them like a stoner, but they're like totally like medically beneficial and everything too.
There's a lot of studies coming out which are very promising about their use in a therapeutic setting and how they can be used to.
Do you consume them like by eating them or like by smoking them?
Eating them.
Eating them, yeah.
They're orally active. Yeah.
Yeah, you eat about it's about like 1.5 to like 3 grams is about a normal dose, and you can go a little bit higher than that. But
what if I don't have a tool that can measure grams?
Then I guess just grab a few stems and a few caps, and you'll be good to go.
It's pretty dangerous to go off of.
Have you ever had a particularly bad trip?
I want to say like the first and third one that I had, but I find that with shrooms. So here's the thing with shrooms like the way that you're okay. So your like ego, and I say that not in like the common sense, like you're egotistical. I mean like your like
just
the human
identity.
ego, Yeah, it kind of falls away, and like the first few times that happens, it's kind of really freaky. And there's also some other side effects that are pretty common with shrooms, like nausea and other stuff. And when you combine that, it's the reason people say they have a bad trip is just because they're not used to it. If you actually like do it enough times, like I've done shrooms probably like 30 plus times, and I'm about to do them a lot more because I just got a whole nother stash. You just kind of stop having bad trips. Like maybe like the first hour or two you'll feel bad, but you know that it's just to like be expected, and anxiety too, yeah. And after like those like first hour or two, you just kind of like shove it down, and you can get into like the good thought zone, and it'll be good from there.
It's not great because they taste absolutely terrible.
Yeah, they taste like shit. I would advise if there's a sauce you like for me, like I like curry. I like tikka masala, and so if I have curry, I'll put them in a quesadilla or something like that. That really helps them like go down pretty well.
See, like it's funny that you bring this up because I think it does actually connect to what we were talking about like connecting with people. At least, like I know that the one successful trip I had, because of that sort of tearing away of the ego, it really helps to bring you closer to people as just people rather than getting caught up in like, oh, who are they compared to who am I? It's sort of just, oh, we're all just we all just exist, and we sort of have
Yeah.
that in common.
Yeah, there's lots of cool like papers and stuff online about like therapy sessions, like family therapy sessions and stuff like that, where they use mushrooms along with the therapy, and like it really enhances the like people just like they feel more able to talk about more shit, and the people that are listening to it that would normally have all kinds of preconceptions about it, and it maybe wouldn't turn out so well necessarily. It really like helps them like talk about stuff more openly and be more accepting. Fucking sick. Everybody should try them at least once. That's my opinion. But
I mean, I just want to wait for my brain to finish growing.
Same, I'm a little
Yeah,
too young
definitely.
for that.
yeah, definitely don't do them if you're like fucking 16 or some shit. That's not a good idea.
Drugs are
Brain is
gay.
overrated.
Drugs are very based and red
Shut up,
pilled.
Clayton.
No.
Fucking Slavs and you fucking straight edge motherfuckers. South Americans are like
Slavs
that
aren't
too, they're
straight
all-
edge. If you're a Slav and you don't consume copious amounts of alcohol, are you even really a
Yeah,
Slav?
but that's their like culturally accepted deviation from being straight edge. A lot of South Americans are like that too. They fucking piss me off. Anyway, that's just personal experiences I've had with people I know.
Hey Clayton, how much do you drink?
A lot.
Okay, you're righteous Slav. You embody the blood of Ivan the Great.
Yeah, this isn't like a meme. Like I think it's like I want to say it's like a fourth or it's something like that. But there's like a good chunk of Russian adults that are like medically like alcoholics, like addicted, like they have liver issues and shit because of it. But
I
anyway,
mean, that's an ironically true. In Russia, like,
This got
every
thrown
time
off
something
the
bad
rails.
happens, every time something bad happens in the government, always the vodka is getting cheap. Unironically.
How does vodka get made cheaply?
You just put stuff in a barrel and then distill it, basically.
I mean, it's made cheaply like everything else is made cheaply. It's like if you scale it up enough and you just have large enough production for it, then you can make anything super cheap.
And it's like
I see.
it's super easy to make a vodka. You just need to have any fermented spirit and then you just need to distill it enough and then you have vodka, basically.
Really? Vodka's just like runoff, essentially?
Not really. Like, if you make good vodka, that's like a specific craft. But vodka in general is basically just pure ethanol mixed with water. So you just need something from which you can extract the ethanol. And usually it's a grain spirit. So if you have the ethanol, you can extract it and then you can mix it with water and then you have vodka.
So you
Makes sense.
invade Ireland and steal their potatoes.
I mean, that's not the most expeditious way to make vodka, but that's not impossible, no.
Cappy should beware.
Like rye, wheat are the most common things from which you can make vodka. Because they're just the easiest ones and they don't have any like taste really in the way that they're used. Like, you can literally make vodka from any substance that has ethanol in it. So it's not like this big thing.
I'm curious why you know so much about vodka. About the making of vodka.
Okay, I have been over this once already today, but like, I know something about literally everything. Like, you can bring up a topic and I'll have some degree of cursory knowledge on it. So it's not like... It's not like it's specifically vodka and it's not like specifically cuckoldry that we were on about before. Like, if there's a topic, I just know something about it enough to like communicate about it. Is that like...
Yeah, I got you. I know some people like that.
Yeah.
Usually very good conversationalists, because, like, you know, like you were saying, they have enough to comment on pretty much everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it... Okay, I'm gonna get to the topic that I originally kind of wanted to make a podcast about. Whereas, like, I'm obsessed with lexical thought. I just want to know, like, I want to be able to categorize everything into, like, these specific lexemes, because I think that's the best way you can think, right? If you're able to categorize every subject on Earth into, like, these specific, well-defined categories, and then connect them in, like, a linear fashion, I think that's not like in an entirely linear fashion, but like a mostly linear fashion. I think that's like the peak of thought. Like that's the kind of people I personally like idolize. So like someone who's able to do that is like the kind of person I look up to the most. So I'm like, I kind of try to emulate them, but like for me, it's just intaking as much information as possible, and then like contextualizing that into like these various different categories that just represent like some vague impressions I have of like every single subject matter, even though I can't precisely emulate the degree of depth that someone who was lexical could like have on those certain subjects.
Do you value that just because you find it interesting or entertaining, or like to what end would that be the best way of thinking?
I mean, I personally just think it's like a matter of communication, right? So if you're lexical, that means you can just communicate your ideas and other people will get it, right? So I think I really value people who are able to like put their ideas into like some practical use. But it's just like, oh hey, I can make a funny joke, or it's like, hey, I can write a program. Like I think both of those are like equally valuable in my head.
I'm gonna hop off because of church shit. But see you guys. Love you all.
See you, Edubs.
See ya.
Church shit?
I kind
Church
of find
shit.
Oh.
I find lexical thinking interesting just because I want to know how it works. But
I can
personally-
comment on it a bit if you want, because I'm a pretty lexical person.
Oh,
Go ahead,
please.
Kuro.
So what you said about being lexical, making it easier to communicate, I kind of feel the opposite about that. Because for me, it's like being too lexical and too focused on language prevents you from really communicating in a human way. Like I'm so focused on the peculiarities of the language I speak, that I also fail to really get to the heart of the matter and connect with people in a meaningful way. Because not everyone's sitting there listening to you out of some like divine reason of like education, the pursuit of information. A lot of people are just curious and want to connect with you on a human level, and a lot of times that sort of fails to happen when you talk like an asshole like I do.
I mean, okay, Kuro, I think your entire thing is just about like a lack of experience. I don't think it's like about like some specific like trait of lexicality. I just think you're too like I think you're just young and inexperienced in communication right now, and you could learn how to be better, and then you can intuit it, you know.
I agree. If there's like a specific concern you have about lexicality, because I'm not, because at the same time I don't understand what it means to be impressionistic. So I sort of need like an example to work.
Okay, Kuro, you know the feeling when you get like a mad adrenaline hit when like you see something like or you do something really cool?
Yeah.
Imagine if everything was like a lesser version of that, and that's just all that there was.
Yeah.
And that's impressionistic thought.
So it's like a feeling, really?
I mean, it's like your thoughts and feelings are kind of like intertwined in like such a way where your feelings like stem from your, like your thoughts stem from your feelings, and like in reverse, your feelings sometimes stem from your thoughts, and then that's just like a feedback loop at a certain extent. If you're like lateral enough, I guess.
I think for me, I have to contextualize everything in language and sort of process that, like sort of write everything out. I think it's a little bit of linear thinking too, but I think putting a definition to something really helps, or putting it into some sort of category.
I think, like, just the way I communicate and the reason I struggle a lot with it is because I want to have different contexts and use words differently for every single thing, and then people get totally lost on what the hell I'm talking about, because I end up using a word in the same paragraph in two completely different ways that are contradictory.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
get that.
inventing meaning? Are those like established meanings of the word, or are you inventing entirely new meanings for those words?
I think the easiest example of me screwing up is with like the words that you use, like words of how much you like something, like it's good, it's great, it's awesome, and stuff. Because I kind of base which one I use just based on like just how I'm feeling at the time about it, but I don't really think about it in a grand scale. So a lot of times I'll say something along the lines like, "This is good," and then like in the same, then like just like a couple sentences later, I'll be talking like, "It is the greatest thing ever," and I'm not keeping track of the scalars and how they're used.
It is
For
pretty
me-
impressionist.
I think what makes me more lexical, or what's like a trait of lexicality, is I'll want to go define those words. So if someone asks me a question like do you like anime? Well, then the first thing is to define what the word like means, because it can mean so many things. And then to also approach that with like every word that could somehow have a contentious understanding between every different person. I think it can sort of throw off the conversation almost.
See, this is a thing that Digi brought up, I think even like in his most recent video about it, is that like the communication aspect is kind of inherently lexical, and that like impressionistic people will just want to communicate less, because when you're talking with people, you have to be lexical. So if you're impressionistic, you just find, conversation unreliable. It's like if somebody asks you, why do you like anime? Like even if you're an impressionistic person, you
Sorry,
either
my
just...
Wi-Fi just cut out a bit.
That's right. You either just give up on expecting to understand what the other person's talking about, or I guess you also have to define those terms.
I mean, like, as someone who is obsessed with lexical thought, I'm like really into like semantics and like fucking what the fuck is the word?
Yeah, like semantics bothers me to no end.
I mean, I'm really into semantics, and I'm really into like the history of words. I want to know like
Etymology?
etymology, yeah, right? Yeah, I'm really like into semantics and etymology because like I'm genuinely obsessed with lexical thought. Like I just admire everyone who thinks lexically.
I think etymology is really cool. I just don't like semantics because I feel like semantics get in the way of a discussion more than they help it.
Yeah, you can really bully people, like completely make someone look like an idiot just by arguing semantically against their point instead of actually addressing the...
I'd say that,
I mean,
yeah, like this might be my work perspective because again, I'm completely fucking obsessed with lexicality. But I think semantics represents the point the best. Because if you're trying to communicate the point between people, the determining factor of that communication will be the language that you choose to use in that interaction, right? So if you're making a semantic point, you're not criticizing their inherent idea, but you're making them communicate that in such a way that can be like mutually agreed upon, I guess.
I feel like as an impressionist, I just use the words that just feel like they're the right one for whatever it is, rather than the one that like matches. Like I don't check the words I use against their context and everything. I'm just like, I feel like using this word and I'm gonna use it. And I feel like that leads to a lot of problems because people aren't on the same page as me.
I mean, like, see, the thing is, like from in my natural state, I would be completely incoherent. I would like invent the language to say the things that I want to say because like I can't say any of it in like the specific established terms of like existing things. Like even right now, I'm not really profound and I'm just talking off the cuff. I'm just saying a lot of words and I'm not even quite sure what those words mean, right? Like right now I don't even fucking know what I'm saying because like I'm just using these words to like convey like this like really vague sense that I have established in my head like previously, right? But like, oh, fuck, I forgot my train of thought. But yeah, like for me it's just like words are like this like incredibly fucking specific thing that I like hate using. Like I have to use because I can't just create new ones off the cuff and like have people understand that.
I have to look up the definition of a word before I use it. And when I'm reading something, I will constantly be looking up definitions. Because there was like one time I got called out for like trying to speak big and not using a word right, and I couldn't say a definition. And now it's just something I'm really peculiar about.
I mean, for me, I use when I'm like reading books and stuff and I see a word I don't know, I'm like, I just take the context, like get a feel for like what I think it means, and then just go with that.
So just rewrite the book.
See, I'm between that because like I have this really specific like thing that I want to say, right? And when I'm reading books, I have like this really specific impression of the book. However, because again, I'm fucking obsessed with lexicality. Like, it's not even funny how, like, I just, like, autistically immerse myself in lexicality. So, what ends up...
Keep going, it's fine.
Okay, so what ends up happening is I have to look definitions up when I say anything, if I'm using a word that I'm like 100% sure about. But that's just because I want to be able to say things that make lexical sense, not because that's how I think in my head, because in my head I just use words I barely know what they mean, and I just, like, when I see a word I know, I just be like, okay, that's a word I don't know, I'm just gonna, like, get, like, a vague impression from the context. But because I'm just completely obsessed with, like, these really particular things, I just go, like, okay, I need to know what this word exactly means so I can, like, decipher this and put this in, like, a framework that I like more than my own framework.
Like, I just use words all the time, and, like, I know what they mean. I don't, but I would never be able to tell you what they mean without just using that word.
Like for me, I have, like, this really extensive map in my head with, like, every word and, like, every connotation, and these words are, like, grouped to their connotations. And then you have, like, this, like, extensive fucking chart of, like, every language that I know and, like, every word in those languages. And I just kind of, like, navigate slowly towards the right words when I'm, like, writing stuff.
Write down, or when you're reading something, look up every word that you don't know the written definition of and write it down. And eventually you'll start to remember them and you'll start to use them in conversation. And because you know what they mean, you'll start being able to make your arguments more lexical and more specific. You'll be one step closer with every word you know to being able to communicate the exact thing that you want to mean. Which is why I think doing that's important, because you're making your argument better.
And I can't do that though. If I write something down, I won't get anything more out of it. Like, if I see a word I don't know and I look up the definition, that's everything I could get out of it. Because I can't internalize it as a word. I can just put it in my, like, map of connotations. And when I need a specific connotation, I can just, like, navigate that map and get back to the connotation I was originally talking about. Like, if I write it down, furthermore, that won't reinforce its position on the map. It'll just make it like, oh hey, it's on the map and I have also written it down. It just goes into the impression map. It doesn't, like, become, like, a lexical thing for me.
How do you approach lexical work? Because you have to create, if you're not focusing so much on the words, how are you focusing on a purely word-based meaning?
Because before I say, like, when I write a book, right, before I write a single word, I have, like, the entire impression mapped out in my head, right? Like, if I'm writing something, I know everything I could possibly want to say about it. So then I just pick and choose the most appropriate one, and then I just go with it. I just fucking write it down as I go, and then it usually makes sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was trying to write a book, and I got a chapter through it. And I thought that, like, to me it made perfect sense, so I sent it to some of my friends. And all I got was resounding, I have no idea what the hell is going on. And so I'm curious if they just weren't picking up on the nuance, or if I'm that bad of a storyteller, or if the words I'm using I was just using totally wrong.
I mean, if you're an impressionistic thinker, you're a bad storyteller, especially if you're lateral. Like,
That's what I found.
Like, to be a storyteller, you have to be lexical, or you just have to be obsessed with lexicality to the point that you can, like, emulate being a storyteller, even if you're just trying to put, like, a sequence of impressions into a specific story, you know?
I always thought ideally I would just be able to make some sort of animation or something to describe it, because it's a lot easier to do, so just showing it visually than trying to recreate the image in someone else's head using words.
Yeah, writing's kind of shit, actually.
I mean, for me, like, again,
I only do it because it's the only thing I can do.
like,
Same.
I'm completely obsessed with lexicality, right? So I'm really into writing. I'm really into, like, putting numbers on charts. Like, I just want to put as many numbers on a chart as I can. I just want to make, like, the best charts. And not because I'm, like, innately, like, interested in charts, because I don't like looking at other people's charts that much. Like, if someone else makes a chart, like, my eyes just kind of glaze over and I'm like, okay, I guess this is a chart. Like, when I'm putting my own thoughts on a chart, it's like, I fucking get my thoughts, because, like, I managed to put them in a medium, like, I actually respect, instead of having, like, a vague notion of, like, everything going on that I can't quite explain. So when I put something in, like, a visual chart that I already, like, understand, it just clicks in my head on like such a more profound level, I guess. Just because
it's probably good to do that, like, because I can definitely relate to the idea of just having a collection of sort of random thoughts in your head that don't really get, I guess, codified, to use the term, until you put them into some sort of lexical form, and writing them out in a chart would definitely do that. But I don't know, I guess I'm at odds with the inaccurate representation that writing them out produces, because it's never actually going to be what I'm thinking of.
I mean, yeah, definitely, but like, I don't know, it's just like, I don't really respect impressionistic thought that much, you know. So when something is phrased in lexical terms, it's just, I inherently am more predisposed to like considering it, right? Because again, I'm restating it for like the 5th time, but I don't value impressionistic thought anywhere near as much as I value lexical thought, right? So when I see something phrased lexically, I'm inclined to agree with it. And like when I see my own thoughts phrased lexically, that means I think my own thoughts are like more valuable than they would be if they were phrased impressionistically, right?
I mean, lexical thought is like much more effective, maybe you could say, or I guess it's at least more effective in communicating a specific idea, which makes impressionistic communication almost, I don't know, like pointless. Like, why even try to communicate something impressionistically? Because it's leaving a lot more space for improper interpretation. But then I guess maybe the communicator feels like it's more accurate. I don't know.
I mean, just as someone who thinks impressionistically, when I'm trying to consume a lexical work, like just a written work, oftentimes, unless the author just goes into like all of the details and clarifies all of the things, which is one of the things I like about Digi a lot, I will form completely different conclusions about a work from another person.
Also, I'm gonna be the shittiest podcast host ever, so I'm gonna BRB and you can say whatever the fuck you want right now. It's going on my channel, so don't say too many racial slurs, I guess. You can say like 5. I think that's an appropriate amount.
5.
I was gonna say, when I read a book, if I don't understand what I think the sentence is trying to communicate to the reader, like what it means in terms of the characters, the plot, like thematically, I will reread it over and over again. I'll reread pages until I think I get what they mean. With anime or something, I'll just, like when I was watching Fooly Cooly like a week or 2 ago, I didn't get it at all, but I just kept watching because it's a lot harder for me to analyze something like that piece by piece, like scene by scene. But when I was watching something like Oregairu, same with the light novel for that series, but because it's so dialogue focused and the characters speak so lexically, I was able to rewind scenes over and over until I finally got what it meant. Because it's sort of like a layered show, but whatever, that's besides the point.
I think a problem with this chart is that, like, it's really hard to think about lexical thought in terms other than just language. Because my understanding was that you can think lexically about even something like music or animation. But it seems like most people are saying like, oh, I like to put things in terms of language specifically, so I must be a lexical thinker. But like, I don't know how you'd put it in other terms.
Yeah, I think it's a complex thing.
Yeah, I'm not really comfortable with exactly where I put myself because I feel like more emotionally I relate to character guts that's in what is it, pure instinct. But intellectually I'll often think lexically, but it really depends on what the subject matter is. I feel like there's more layers than this chart suggests, so I don't know how accurate it's meant to be as a whole.
I mean, obviously, any personality chart will be incomplete by nature.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all an approximate. You can't put all people into 16 categories, no matter how many dimensions those categories contain.
I mean, like, I know exactly where I am on the chart, because like it's the first one that has made sense for me personally. there are a lot of people who just don't get it, you know?
I will say, like, I don't really relate to anime characters based off of how they think, which is what the chart really relied on. Like, I'm much more concerned with what, like, a character values, which I have not seen a correlation between, like, how a person thinks and what they end up valuing.
I mean, I usually relate to characters based on that process just because, like, I relate a lot to Yui, and I could just tell from watching K-On! Just the way she acts, so just jumping thought to thought without really any hesitation, just a thing that they do. And then just whenever Yui would just pull out some random thing that came out of nowhere, it's like something that I just do all the time just by existing because I think that way. And so I just relate a lot to Yui because it's always like we're always hopping from thing to thing.
What category was Yui in, actually? I don't remember.
She was a new type.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've fucking been over this like a million times. Like, there are two characters related and they're really close to each other on the chart. So I'm right between those two. And that's how I figure out where I am.
I mean, I will definitely say, like, I think I decided on Fascinator because I do relate to Rei from Sangatsu no Lion, and he's in there. But, like, I don't really care about the other characters for the most part in that category. Like, Senjo Gahara is definitely not my favorite character from Monogatari, but that's where she was.
I mean, do you relate to the way that she thinks?
You know, I'd probably have to go. I don't really remember how she thinks. I don't think I paid much attention to how characters think in that show. I'm more concerned with, I guess, being entertained by the banter, which is definitely reflective of how they think. But I'm paying more attention to the result of their thinking rather than thinking them itself.
Yeah, I mean, but like, the results of your thinking are entirely like predicated on the previous thoughts. So if you make the same decisions, that means that there has to be like some degree of overlap between how you think and how the character thinks. And like, especially if you have made those same decisions before when presented with like a similar situation.
I mean, I also just don't know. I probably disagree with a lot of Digi's placements of characters. Like, personally, I think to try to analyze how a character thinks is pretty difficult just from anime, because unless the show is having a lot of like internal dialogue of characters, you're mostly relying on behavior, which isn't always reflective of thought. So I think it's pretty difficult to accurately estimate the exact way that a character thinks just based off of, you know, 12 or 24 or even like 100 episodes.
The best example I have. Oh, you go ahead.
I think maybe that's why I'm a lot better at relating to Yui. Just thinking is because me and Yui are so directly thought to action without really thinking about it. And so it's just easy to see the parallels between the two because there's so little distance between thought and action.
Yeah.
I think Digi's chart is more accurate than his placement of characters. You know. Like, the best example I have is he put Kazuma from what's it called? Konosuba? Yeah, as a not a room right now.
Quick-witted.
Did he put him as quick-witted or externalist or whatever?
Yeah, I think he put Kazuma as externalist when he's obviously quick-witted.
Yeah, and
Yeah, like there's bound to be like some error given that you can't like completely deliberate on like everyone in the chart instantly, you know?
because I think that he honed in on Kazuma bringing a lot of people to him, and it's not how it is.
Yeah, like every connection Kazuma has is like through Aqua, right? Basically.
Yeah, which makes a lot more sense because Aqua's like moe, but moe in a dumb way.
Yeah, Aqua
She is moe, but it's more someone. It was another chart bars who put Megumin as the what is it called, the clear-sighted. Is that the term for it?
Yeah, Megumi isn't really clear-sighted. She's more like
Yeah,
pure
she's not-
instinct.
Yeah, but she's moe, so it's kind of.
She's like between clear instinct and pure instinct and clear-sighted.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I guess.
The
Still
big-
moe. I don't know. Like I generally classify that classification as just moe. How many people you come to you?
Yeah, like Aqua is definitely just clear-sighted. I think Megumi is like way more impressionistic than Aqua is.
Yeah, I think Megumin seems very lateral and impressionist.
Yeah, I get a new type.
I
feel
don't
from her.
think how is Megumin lateral?
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm
Isn't
not
she
sure
the most
quite
linear?
new type levels, but she's definitely in the top right.
I mean, Megumi is super linear too. Megumi doesn't really
Yes.
have complex trains of thought.
Yeah, she's more of a new type.
I think
Impressionistic. I don't know.
How
I think
she's
it's
pure
less
instinct.
the complexity of the trains of thought and just the number and randomness of them.
But there's one
Mega-
thought, it's
Megumin seems-
explosions.
Yeah, like Megumin's thought
I mean,
is
that's
literally
true.
explosion.
But she also has a life that she has to lead, and it's like she's
Does she?
constantly hopping between. Well, like when she's trying to, just like when she's trying to train for her explosions, and when she's trying to eat food so she can recover from her explosions.
Also, I think Chuni's
I
have to
mean,
be
yeah, but
at least
everyone does
somewhat
that.
lateral.
Everyone, you're basically like saying like impressionists, like guts,
I'm
have
saying,
to
like-
think about getting food. That doesn't make.
I was
Hold
saying,
on,
like,
I think Digi's placement of guts is horrifically wrong, but that's besides the point. You guys continue.
Where would you place Guts though? I'm curious now.
I mean, guts would be more on the left
Megumin-
because there's one point, because I was thinking about it, like guts literally goes scavenging for food and like cuts the neck of a snake, so that he doesn't get poisoned or some bullshit. It's like, I mean, he might have learned it because of his survival skills and whatever, but you know, someone with a high IQ that's such a low IQ and impressionistic would not have done that.
No. Whatever. You guys continue.
Sure.
Unless my opinion on this is important, which it is obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But so my idea with Guts is that he has, while he does a lot of big sort of swoosh tough guy moments, he's also a very contemplative character.
Yeah.
Campfire dreams when he's sitting on the roof looking at his sword, thinking about the Band of the Hawk. I think that suggests more emotional intelligence than people would give him, and I think it.
Yeah, I agree.
It represents also a very accurate understanding of his surroundings. I don't think. Well, first of all, I think the 85 IQ is complete bullshit that did you give him. I think it's at least average, because we don't really have an intellectual environment to judge him from.
Digi doesn't know what. I don't think he knows what the average IQ actually is, because he treats he considers people in the 100 to 110 as low IQ.
No, it's because
Which
the
makes
thing
it
is
more
that
baffling.
Digi undervalues IQ. He puts the general average IQ at 80 or so.
He put this 114-year-old from Horo Musiko as like a 130 IQ, and I get that it's like a complex show, but Jesus fucking Christ,
No,
it makes zero sense.
The best example is what's that character from Utena, Anji or whatever?
Oh,
She has an IQ.
yeah.
Yeah, she has an IQ of 150. It's like
Her IQ is infinite, actually. Anshi's IQ is. She's like probably the smartest anime character.
how?
Also-
What the fuck does she do?
She could.
she drives Utena.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Driving someone does not make you smart.
That's the joke.
You have to fully understand them, in every aspect, to be able to completely.
Maybe
take
lesbians
over
are
the
just
game.
smart, which I doubt. I don't know. I don't
I
think
mean, as the patron and saint of being gay, no, we're not. At least
No.
I'm not.
Digi has also seen more than half these shows like over a decade ago. Like his last Lucky Star viewing, his last time he picked up Berserk, the last time he touched One Piece. Although I think he may have picked it up a little bit more recently, but
Yeah,
whatever.
whenever I think about sticking a character in this chart, I think, okay, I'd have to watch the entire show and rewatch every episode and really take notes on okay, how is this character considering this particular scenario? And then he's just put 100. I mean, he's essentially on gut just put 100 characters on the chart.
Like, I know I could place every single Berserk character perfectly because that's all I've been thinking about for the last year and a half. I don't think that if he's been dealing with this show really at all in the last several years that he can accurately place characters, because every single thing he thinks about that character is going to be based off of like their most intense feature. Like whatever about them sticks.
Like about Guts, I seem to remember like Guts seemed generally rather thoughtful about his relationship with Griffith.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
thing is
that's
that
why
Especially
Guts is
towards the
Guts is
betrayals.
supposed to be the opposite of Griffith. Like the thing is, I think
I think Guts
Guts is more of an emotional thinker, like you were
Yeah.
you were saying, but it's more like slow brooding. Like
Guts?
would I put him in a brooder?
I would
Like
actually probably
towards
put.
the end.
No, he's too lexical for that. I don't know.
I think I would actually put Guts in like level-headed.
I
Yeah.
think Guts is a very like soft, like when you strip away like all the trauma, he's a very soft, emotional person. I think that the whole point is that Guts is supposed to be pictured as demonic and Griffith is supposed to be pictured as angelic. And the reality of situations that both characters are opposite, and this idea is reinforced through the entire series, throughout every single fucking arc where both of them show up. And I think that Digi's reading into only really the Golden Age arcs. That's probably the last time he really interacted with the series. And I think he's taking very surface level approaches to a lot of these characters, especially the Berserk characters.
Yeah, I agree. Like one of the things about Guts specifically is that how can I say this? Like the irony of Guts is that he's a very nice person. Which is like to me the most ironic thing. Like he would not be this insane, angry person. He's just put in this situation because of shit that happens in his life.
Like, I forgot the kid.
He's
But,
rather kind to Casca.
Yeah, I think especially this is most exemplified in the Lost Children arc and when he killed Adonis. Because whenever he interacts with children, you see Guts's really reflective side come out because he recalls back to his childhood. And I think he has a lot of sympathy for the people he interacts with. The problem is it's in his nature to deal with things through violence and anger because that's all he's known. That's why he's a complicated character because everything about his existence is conflicting. His literal existence is conflicting because of his brand. That's like sort of one of the major themes of Berserk.
No, I agree.
Like Guts literally metaphysically does not fit into the world he resides in.
Yeah. No, literally.
Guts is too nice. So sad.
He's such a nice dude.
Yeah,
He's too hot to be
It's
killed.
a shame his leader tried to do really shitty stuff and then did really shitty stuff.
To be fair, he said he'd do it, just really indirect.
It's I think everyone in his crew was not at all okay with everything that Griffith did, and I think that should have been clear if Griffith was really concerned about that. I feel like he was trying to twist their words against them.
I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
That because Griffith, the way Griffith showed, he's like, I'm going to use everyone in this club to do whatever I want.
What?
I think.
Because Griffith's idea was that if you're in the band of Hawk, he owns you.
Yeah.
And you serve his. And he
Like,
took
the
that
way-
to like the most literal extent.
I mean, the thing is that Griffith never did. Jesus, having a fucking. Here's the thing: Griffith never had that thought. It was only implanted into him by the fucking God Hand.
I mean, okay, but the thing is, Griffith, the base Golden Age, at least, conception of Griffith of himself is he's going to win. So if you want to win, you have to swear absolute fealty to Griffith. Now that perspective changed after the Golden Age when he had the entire thing happen, which was like, okay, I can lose sometimes, so I'm just gonna make sure I don't lose again, and I don't care the means. I'm just gonna make sure that like everyone is subservient to me to maximize my chance of not losing. But Golden Age Griffith just thought, hey, I will win, give me your fealty, because then you will also win.
So do you
Griffith is a
think that-
human calculator. I changed.
Yeah.
I think Digi has him completely wrong, and I can explain exactly why. I think Griffith's lexical interpretation of the dedication that his troops have to him is what leads him to believe that Guts will definitely not leave the Band of Hawk, because he thinks he has this very finite plan, this very strong grasp on the situation. And when Guts violates the idea he has in his head, his entire plan is thrown out the window, and he mentally collapses, which is what leads him to make that brash choice that sort of ends him up in some deep shit in the Golden Age arc. And I think for that reason, Griffith's very, very strict thinking isn't what makes him a fascinator. He's not very impressionistic. He's very lexical. He's a very resourceful, and I think he puts a really finite value to everything and tries to work it into some sort of plan.
Maybe,
What
I don't
grade
know.
did you put him?
Maybe Griffiths is just that. Okay. Here's a radical thought. Maybe Berserk is so well written that it defies Digi's categorization chart.
Yeah.
At some point, there's nuance to everyone. Like, I'm bordering new type, I'm bordering fascinator. I'm just like right in between those. But like, when I'm doing like hardcore work, when I'm just like doing like work, I prefer to put myself in like a human calculator or a technician place, because that's where I'm most comfortable and like just in a flow state, I guess.
I mean, I think Digi was talking about, he was saying potentially adding a second dot because he thought that people had some sort of disconnect between sometimes people think more lexical and other times they feel more impressionistic.
It might be better to retitle it like Common Patterns of Thought and just take characters who exemplify that pattern of thought while not always, entirely being it. Like, oh, Guts thinks mostly this way, not this is the way he.
Maybe, I don't know.
Like, not that it's like a definite thing about a character, but just a mind state that they can be in, that they usually.
Mind state maybe would be better, but
I mean, that makes actual sense, because like a lot of the neurotype is shaped by your personal experiences. For example, if Guts didn't go through the shit he went through, he would just be like a bookkeeper, right? Guts wouldn't be anything extraordinary if he hadn't had the specific like things he had. He would just be like default, like the normal state of most people, which is like being really linear and really lexical, right?
Woody, I don't know. It's hard to tell, honestly.
I mean,
I don't think the category is supposed to be dependent on like experience. I think it's supposed to be inherent.
I mean,
I think that inherency is what's wrong about it.
I mean, like, if you look at, like, neuroplasticity, like, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, but, like, the human brain can change itself, right? If you think about something long enough, your brain will literally change to accommodate that. So, if you have gone through certain experiences, your brain will mirror those specific experiences that you have gone through.
I mean, I do agree. That is something. I mean, although, I think one of the aspects about this is that you are correct, but you have to think about it that neuroplasticity does not apply to general characters in fiction.
I'd say fiction.
And now that I think about it, actually, wait, maybe it does apply in fiction because characters can change them.
Yeah, I think most people can intuit neuroplasticity. Like, it's the entire, like, discussion of, like, whether people can, like, change drastically based on their experiences. Like, ultimately, that's just a discussion about neuroplasticity. That's not, like, a discussion upon, like, what's the nature of change, in my opinion.
Take any isekai character and judge them before and after the isekai. I'm willing to bet you that because of their circumstances and their experiences, that their neurotyping has changed drastically. Probably shifting more towards a bomb. Kazuma, shield guy, I don't give a fuck. I think
I'd say Kazuma's
different. Yeah, Kazuma has been literally not giving a shit since the start. I don't know.
That's a point of clemency, but that's like a comedy isekai. I don't know, subversive.
It's more of a parody, but so that's why, he joined the New World and nothing's changed. Just like new shit, different day, just in an isekai.
Maybe Re:Zero guy would be a good example.
Re:Zero is kind of his entire arc is how he has to accept that he's shit. So I don't know.
I'm curious about Re:Zero, or not Re:Zero, No Game No Life, because I of that show,
That world is
I
made for them, though. I thought that was the
world
whole
made
point.
for them, and thus it didn't change their thought processes.
I mean,
It
also, you
allowed
don't
their
really,
thought processes to thrive.
But yeah,
you don't really see much of isekai characters before they get isekai'd. Like, there's not a whole lot to go off of.
That's because
the
that's the
problem.
point. No, that's the point. It's not the problem.
What's the problem with trying to compare their categorizations? Like, how do you categorize the ReZero guy before he got isekai'd? Wasn't
No,
it
it's
like,
because the thing with isekai is that you're not meant to know about the character's past, so that it's a smooth transition to their new world.
oh, so you
So
think
that
you're
you
saying
can
if we
self-insert.
them in early to avoid the thought?
Like the
change?
best example is Digi's fucking light novel, where you get to know about the character that he was depressed, he was a writer,
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and then because of that, it's all about it's a general difference between
you're
Western and
saying
men.
like if we could know them before they got isekai'd, then we'd probably
Yes.
see that their categorization changed.
Yeah, it's just that it changed, and it's not because it's because of exactly because something big happened. It's
No, I
circumstances
agree. It's
that sort of-
thematically. No, I agree. It's thematically that you literally cannot know about it because
I was
of
gonna say-
how anime is done, is created.
I think anime, like with anime characters, it's more so that the events of the story can end up changing their neurotype. I'm less inclined to think that happens with real people because anime characters are really just, I mean, like they don't actually have thoughts. They just have the thoughts that the writer lets us see, and those are going to be pretty like specifically dependent on the the events that they interact with. So like if they're constantly coming, like I guess ReZero is a decent example. Like if you're in a, or not ReZero, NGNL, if you're in a world that's literally built around, the human calculator mindset, then you're going to be constantly encountering, and the stories about that, you're going to be constantly encountering situations that are built to that. But an actual human is going to encounter a much wider range of experiences. So I think it's less likely that you're going to see, the more experiences they encounter like this, the more they're going to think like this. I think it's more important to look at like, okay, what's the commonality in how they think about these different situations? Like, I don't know, it'd be interesting to put somebody in a human calculator job, whatever that may be, and then stick them in a pure instinct job, whatever that may be, and then just look at, okay, how do they approach them, and then the commonality of how they approach them is what category they actually belong in.
I think there's a mistake with how people neurotype themselves in characters. I think that every single axis should be more of a where we see the most people sort of congregating in the middle, and then the very edges of the graph have very few people because it's so extreme to call one person 100% lateral or 100% lexical or whatever the hell. That doesn't really make sense to put anyone there, if that makes
Because
sense.
it's a relative scale.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be room. Like, there's an argument to be made that the chart is like kind of exponential, insofar as like the closer you get to the edges, like the bigger the distances become between people.
Yeah.
But like, I don't
it's-
think that's a fault of the chart. I just think that's like that's just like the bell curve, kinda.
No, that's people placing them on the chart. Like, people placing characters and themselves on the chart. I think a lot of people would like to take what they think they are and sort of push it in their mind to the max.
I think it's funny that Digi said his favorite thing about the Myers-Briggs test is that there's 16 categories, but I'm not sure having 16 categories on this type of scale makes the most sense.
I just think he's
Like the Myers-Briggs is, well, here's 16 based off of, 4, like, they're supposed to be more binary.
Yeah. Wasn't the Myers-Briggs test based like that? It wasn't so much, like, it wasn't 2 axes, but it was like 4 different things
Yeah.
it could be 2 of, and so it was 2 to the 4th power rather
Yeah,
than
exactly.
rather than a 2-dimensional array.
Yeah, this is, the way Digi's thinking about this is rather than, maybe it should be 4 categories, I guess, because really we have 2 scales that you can be more so one way or the other. And
Yeah,
yet
but-
he's thinking of it more like, you can be 10% or 40% this way, and somehow that's going to determine what category you fall into.
I mean, the thing is, like, it had been like a lot less expressive if there were like 4 categories. Like, ultimately, if we got like to like a test where we were like going to like verify the application of this chart, it would be the best to have 4 categories, right? if you're going on like a really broad scale thing where we're like conducting studies on where people fall on the chart. But
no,
like,
it's still about control. That's why.
I like the number of categories, but I think it's an arbitrary factor rather than one determined by the type of data that we're inputting.
yeah, I think 16 is the most like expressive version of the chart. Because it's just enough for people to comprehend and place themselves accurately, and it's not like lacking in any specific aspect, I guess.
I'm just saying, I think it tends to make people push themselves toward the extreme.
I think
Because they think, oh, I'm an impressionist. That must mean I'm very.
Yeah, I think
purely impressionist.
like I think looking at it from the axes is wrong. Like unironically, I think the Digi's axes are generally wrong. Like the way, like it's how you think. I don't think it's how you think. It's more. I don't know. I think they're different categorizations, not axes.
Watakashi, back to what you were saying, I think a lot of people here, or on the internet, but here especially, want to think they're more special than they really are. No matter what they put themselves at, they want to be like, well, I perfectly exemplify whatever the hell.
Yeah, and nobody else is like that.
I mean, yeah, we had that when we created the chart with multiple people were like, hey, I don't want to be near anyone else on the chart, I want my own special spot.
I mean, the only reason I played myself
people
as
being
impressionistically as I did is just because Yui is a character I relate to a lot, so I want to be closer to her. But the only axis I feel especially strong on is being lateral, just because it's something that's just been really apparent to me and has just now been put into words.
What do clear-headed people? Let me check this.
I mean, for me, it's like being lateral had always been like intuitive for me. So when someone says that you can be both like lateral and impressionistic, like that was a big click moment for me, because I always thought like, hey, I want to be like all of these like lexical people, because that's the type of thought I really like, and I like when people can put stuff into like concise words and like spread their memes like super efficiently. That's just what I like value, I guess.
I could be convinced either way, left or right, but up or down, I feel pretty confident in my position upwards.
I mean, you have been talking about how like you don't really feel that lexically about most things.
I mean, I just don't know how I feel lexically versus. I think I'm definitely more on the impressionistic side, but I don't know how much.
I feel like I could be talked into any category that isn't, far lexical.
I could get talked into anything that isn't far down.
Yeah, I mean, I assume like whenever I assume I'm very lateral, but I don't know. It's very hard to tell. I think his intention was for the anime characters to help, like you said, to help people figure out what category they're in. But I'm more interested in the like the flow state video that he's mentioned a few times.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be an example of like, okay, well I can watch that and I can say, well, which flow state most accurately represents my experience with the flow state, and then that's going to be the category that I probably fall into.
I think it'll help clarify.
I mean, flow state, I know exactly what my flow state is, so I'm gonna assume that that's like the new type / fascinator flow state, which is where like the entire cloud of thoughts just congregates on like one specific obsession, and that's the flow state when you can like encapsulate that specific obsession.
That's how I feel the flow state.
Yeah, so I just assume that's like the fascinator / new type flow state.
Yeah.
I want Digi to sort of live up to what he's sort of brought the chart to be, which is the idea that he can explain character relationships by their neurotyping. And what I think he needs to do is he needs to take a show, and he needs like Infinite Revice, a show that has a very closed off setting. It's a microcosm of humanity and government or whatever, and he needs to assess characters and explain why those character relationships play off of each other in the way they do. And obviously this can only be done in well-written shows because it would make sense. I think that's sort of like the logical progression of this idea.
I think the best way to do it is to explain one character jumping from another character. I think Digi... I don't know, like, explain going from L to Lane.
It just stopped making sense. That's how you go from
Because I
L to
think-
Lane.
Because that's it, because it's like Something about the chart doesn't make sense to me. And
No, I'm confused what you mean by like.
I feel
what is
comfortable with the
going from
placement
one
of
character to another.
L and Lane.
Yeah, but why? That's what I'm trying to.
I
What's
think,
the?
I
Because
feel
I
okay.
think that I feel like they both have a very lateral approach to thinking. Just because L is so good at factoring in all of the factors,
Deductions
Coming up with-
also.
and then coming up with a deduction. And I think Lane is just taking all of those different things and just focusing them into whatever the hell happened in Lane. Which
Yeah, her thoughts are more
I don't think
abstract.
that's true.
which is a more abstract thing.
Hmm.
They're less
more
calculated.
like thinking about everything, but like consequentially that means that like she's just like not thinking at all.
Lane's thoughts are more existential, whereas L's are more grounded in reality, and that's what makes L such a great detective, and that's what makes Lane literally.
Incompetent socially.
Well, we're not all gods.
I mean, some of us aren't.
And it's the poster saint for schizophrenia.
I
Okay,
need to watch Lane again.
okay, what do you guys think of my fucking theory that the closer you get to new type, the more delusional you become, and the closer you get to human calculator, the more apathetic you become?
Apathetic, did you say?
Yeah, apathetic.
Could you define
Uh,
apathetic?
It's like you don't.
Ap-
I mean,
I could define apathetic.
Okay.
I
Please
would.
define
I would
it.
not agree with.
The guys don't know it.
I wouldn't completely
Apathy.
agree.
Apathy is volitional inaction through a lack of interest or concern regarding matters of importance. It is
So
worse
like
than
not
death.
giving a fuck.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just not
Cool.
caring.
Because I would consider myself both extremely apathetic and delusional.
Oh boy.
I mean,
You're
I would-
double dead.
I don't think I'm delusional. I just think other people don't understand because I'm not clear.
They don't understand your delusions, or they don't understand your apathy.
You don't seem to
There's-
understand.
I mean, I don't
Oh.
consider myself particularly apathetic.
I don't think no one got the joke, but
Oh, what was the joke?
it was a lane. Unless you weren't doing that intentionally, then I'm sad. You don't
was
seem to
doing it
understand
intentionally.
lane OP. I don't know. Just,
Oh, and you don't see the. Oh, I'm so dumb. I
Oh.
should have picked up on that instantly. Oh, I love that song so much,
It's a shame you seemed an honest man.
Yeah.
yeah.
and all those things you hold so dear. Anyway, but I don't
I mean-
consider myself apathetic.
I mean,
Yeah, I give too much of a fuck.
Apathy seems more. I don't think that apathy or like interest would be dependent on really any part of the chart. Like it seems more dependent on just life experience and personality, and, like
Yeah.
personal values.
But can a certain thought process lead you to become more apathetic?
I think a thought process. See, this is like, and this is
Can
just
it become
my.
a tendency, not necessarily like it's a statistical likelihood rather than not like directly saying that this person is.
I've made two correlations with the chart, but neither of them have to do with apathy.
What do they have?
So I think IQ generally increases from bottom right to top left, and I think the political spectrum, people who think more lexically tend to be more right-leaning, and people who think more impressionistically tend to be more left-leaning. And those are
What
like
are
the
you
two.
basing these off of?
Literally just thoughts. They
But,
mean
like-
absolutely nothing or
I mean,
practice.
how does
Is it like
there
Oh,
people
okay,
you
okay.
know?
No. Okay. The thoughts that go behind them. I think somebody that thinks more lexically is going to tend to be less empathetic, and they're going to tend to focus on rigid understandings of the way things work. I think that's going to lead to like a less liberal
They're-
mindset.
They're going to be less fluid in their thought processes, so they're going to expect people to conform more to what they think.
Okay, but okay, here's my argument. The people who are currently on the far right are as impressionistic as it gets because you have to be impressionistic
yes.
right
Okay,
now.
I think that's okay, you have to also define the far left and the far right, and that's the whole different can of worms.
I mean, yeah, but like,
Not American, not like actual American left and American right, or like political. I mean like
that also
ideological.
applies. Okay, here's very cut down dry left and right. Left is left leaning means more pro egalitarianism, pro collectivism, and anti free market. Right wing is generally just anti left, but generally what they advocate is pro capitalism, pro free market, pro individual rights.
I think
But
this is
That's not
one
really what I meant by that.
one
I
second.
meant
Wait.
I
Let
meant
me
liberal
fucking-
versus conservative.
Shut the
just
fuck
like
up.
pure liberal versus
Shut the fuck up. Let me finish. But they also have the addition of being pro authoritarianism by being through Christianity.
I think that's the specifically American conception that I don't think
Yeah.
applies to
Also
most
be
other.
pro-traditionalist.
I mean, it's not whatever.
I think like on a global and historical term, right wing is just hierarchy and left wing is just equality. Like on a really large scale.
That's not what I was meant. I meant right as in conservative, like just conservative as like not like applications of
problem.
conservatism, just conservative, and the left is liberal, like liberal thoughts, not liberal applications.
That's literally wrong. See, the problem is that conservatism doesn't mean anything. Conservatism just means the preservation of values within a country, and values within a country are dependent on the country itself. So conservatism literally has no values.
Okay.
Well, if we're
It
talking
doesn't
about
mean anything.
Well, it's all predicated. Oh,
Okay,
If we're talking
we're
about modes of
digressing.
thought, then that term of that phrase of that definition of conservatism would make sense if we're talking about modes of thought, because you could assume that somebody who thinks one way is more likely to just prefer the way things already are. I would guess that'd
Just
be
because they
like
don't
sort of
want
thinking.
change.
Yeah,
I think
would
that's
say,
indicative of something in and of itself.
what about conservatism versus progressivism, which is just saying the way things are or making things
Yes,
different?
that would be a good definition of the left and the right.
Okay, to
That's
read.
not what I meant.
But again,
their points are also valid.
that also doesn't apply because you can still be right wing
Restarting.
and being a progressive. Again, being progressive and conservatism are contextual depending on the intent.
Okay, to reiterate something I was gonna say before. So specifically to be reactionary in the current climate, you would have to be impressionistic, because to be reactionary requires that you have a specific emotional impression from which you can base your political ideas off of.
I don't agree with the idea that like impressionistic people are going to be more emotionally driven. I think they just
I think it's just the way the thoughts.
Everything is predicated on
represent.
emotions,
It's
and
not
everything is predicated on logic, because emotional logic is the thing, and that's what drives us.
lexical people are still basing their lexical thoughts based on their emotions and their interpretations of reality.
I mean, like reactionary.
They just share it in a less emotional way.
I think it's not there. There's no sense in like connecting stuff like emotions and the political compass to this chart, because all of it is a different pocket in one's personality, and they feed into each other for sure. And there might even be some correlation, but I don't think that you can say things like impressionistic is left and what.
I would still say that it's impossible. I would say that the mode of thinking is irrelevant to one's politics.
I mean, I would just say that impressionistic tends, like, both impressionistic and lateral both tend to like deviate from the common form of political thought within a certain society.
I guess maybe I don't know.
This idea really stemmed from me thinking like, where would people like conservative figurehead Ben Shapiro or someone like Jordan Peterson place? And I figured very lexically versus a lot of liberal talking heads, which focus a lot on like the more emotional arguments, not to drag us into a political thing.
Okay,
I figured maybe place more impressionist.
Maybe I'm getting too focused, but you're considering Jordan Peterson to be a right-leaning talking head and
Not right. No, he is not.
Depends
Ben
on
Shapiro
your
is the only
definition.
example.
Okay,
But
and then,
both
but then
Ben
are you considering
Shapiro,
him to?
again, both Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson are both technically
you gotta
left
use that.
wing.
It was great. It was fun.
But they are right wing because they advocate pro Christianity.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, yeah.
Who joined?
Oh crud! The Corrupting Your Kids podcast is starting.
Oh yeah.
Who says that?
Boo.
Hello, Pepsu.
What are they even talking about on the podcast?
They're
neurotyping.
YouTubers.
And Zen is on.
With Zon Huxtable.
We are the Real Better podcast.
Yeah, we're the best podcast to be listening to right at the current
We
moment.
should broadcast this podcast live to contest theirs.
We should hijack their airwaves.
I'm
What is their topic?
Neurotype. It's the same as ours.
Oh, this
But
is the
we're more
topic?
intellectual.
I mean, no, we didn't have a topic. We just ended up diverging onto like various. Yeah.
I just want to complain about how fucking Haruhi is rated so low on Mal. What?
Okay, complain. Go for
I think
it.
it's because people hit endless 8 and they don't get it.
Why are you putting any value in Mal ratings?
I don't care. Because I'm fucking triggered, dude.
Like,
Why are you triggered by stupid shit?
Because getting triggered by stupid shit is fun.
I don't know. You don't sound like you're having fun, dude.
I am having fun. What the fuck? Have you ever even seen me? Does anybody even know who I am?
I don't even know who you are, dude.
You don't know who I am.
He's hype shit.
He's hype
No.
shit.
I don't even know who.
Complaining is the soul. Complaining is literally the soul. It's literally the most fun thing in the world.
I literally just show up in this
I don't
server
know.
every now and then.
Complaining is the best, honestly.
I still don't know who hype shit is.
Pepsi
Hype
is...
shit is everything.
Okay, Pepsi is the embodiment of
I
hashtag channel
heard you.
discussion.
I still don't know what that means.
That's a channel you never go to, Rikafag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He
Did
posts
anyone
there.
see that video on like Reddit or Twitter or wherever they browse of like this airport luggage unloading place just overrun with crabs? Just crabs everywhere. Crabs, just like the animal, just like walking everywhere while people are trying to get their suitcases from like the spinny thing, and everyone's just dying laughing while like some people are like screaming in the background because they're like waving pincers and just like running all over.
Was it like a real life crab rave?
It was like a real crab rave, yeah, exactly.
I don't even know.
As the resident Zoomer, I had to make the joke.
Yeah,
If you- I was
That's going in the show notes.
I was literally forced. They forced my hand.
just Google crab luggage.
I mean, it's in the
What?
show notes. Just look at the fucking show notes and you'll get to see the crab luggage.
I don't even know where this is going to be posted.
It's in general. It's
I mean,
literally.
I'm just gonna post
yeah.
it on my YouTube channel.
Dude.
Carousels? More like crabicels.
What the fuck?
Oh my god, I found it. What the hell?
That's how I think,
Holy
and that is
shit.
pure quick-witted thinking right there.
Okay,
There's just a bunch of crabs.
okay, Pip, so I'm watching Haruhi right now, by the way, and I'm on episode 5.
What?
I'm watching
What?
Haruhi currently.
Yeah.
And I'm on episode
What?
5.
Oh, yes.
What were the
It's-
crabs
it's hype
doing on
shit.
the plane?
It's literally hype shit.
It's super fucking hype shit.
Hello, you don't get it. It's too deep.
It's too deep for me.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's the best representation I've seen of like the edges of reality just fraying, like straight up, nothing makes sense anymore just because of like the influence of someone beyond your comprehension. It's super hype shit.
Yes.
It's existential hype. That's what it
Existential.
is.
Every scene with Nagato when she starts explaining stuff and the music, every fucking music track that's associated with Nagato is like, yes, basically.
Is she
Anytime Nagato's talking, I'm
the
like,
alien robot thing.
she is a humanoid interface.
Thought
Is she the one that's like the time traveler? No,
No.
the time traveler is
Well,
the
she
other.
is a time traveler.
The time traveler
and not what you think though.
though.
Is she the one that knows what's going on the whole time during Endless 8?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
because she has like every memory from all.
Yeah.
She has like a 4D brain.
Yeah.
The
and-
spin-off.
Yeah,
I'd say
There's a
that one who's
spin-off.
reading a book.
There's a spin-off with Nagato as the main character, but she's like disappearance Nagato, where she has like emotions and shit.
Isn't
And there's
it bad?
basically a version of the Endless 8 where she goes back to being like the robotic Nagato, and it literally made me want to shoot. It was so boring, and I made myself watch.
Why?
I don't know. I was watching it on YouTube when I was 12.
I don't really like that Nagato. Everybody's like, "Oh, that Nagato's so cute." No.
Jeez,
You remember Kyon? He literally leaves. he's like, I don't want this. I want
he doesn't,
cool.
He doesn't embrace escapism.
Yeah, he's like, fuck this. This is nonsense. I want the cool shit. Because real life is the real cool shit.
Hey, I mean,
Which is kind of ironic in a way.
Who doesn't want to live the same 8 days over and over again?
Well, he didn't know he was.
Well, I mean, actually, I need to finish.
No, it was like
that arc 'cause
1,000 days.
I got a couple episodes in, and I was like,
No, it's like 50,000 days. It's like a lot.
yeah,
Still a
they
lot.
do it. They spend like, I know the robot crazy 4D chick. She said exactly how many it was. It was so many days.
What the
We can make fun of that, but that's basically you guys going to work every single.
I don't
Same
work.
shit.
I don't work, so no.
Yeah, imagine having a job.
Oh, sorry. It's 15,532.
All right.
Yeah, haha, imagine.
When I when I clicked on this, like I went to check, I literally clicked and then like skipped through it. The first click was the frame where it says this is 15,000. Like literally the frame that I clicked on. Wow.
That's loud.
Only 15,000?
Only.
Pleb.
The blue
dude,
one
I
with
thought
the
it was more.
eyebrows like Mugi
Your
dies so
power
early in the
level
heart.
fucking pleb.
That's fucking 50 years.
50 years. Having
Haruhi is
fun.
gonna be 50 years old some year.
Imagine living till 50.
Imagine living.
I will not.
If I
Something
make
will
it to
happen.
50, I will be astonished.
You're
a guilt.
you're all gonna hate that because I thought I wouldn't even live till I was 21. Like I was like, oh, the world's gonna end, something's gonna happen. Here I am.
20, why 21? That's so fucking low.
I don't know. I just thought I was like, I'll never become an adult. That'll never happen.
That is basically how I felt. I felt like I wasn't gonna turn 18. I just figured I would kill myself before then.
I still have
And then
the
I
ability
ended
to
up
not
being
turn
21.
18.
See, that's
And then
what
I just kept going.
See, that's
Yeah,
what
kept
I'm
going.
doing now.
Now
I'm
I'm
18.
Oh.
So.
You
You're
people
like,
are
uh-oh.
insane. What the fuck?
Yeah, all of us are
Welcome to
insane. Yeah, this is
I'm not.
Digicord.
I'm literally sane.
You said
What the
you were
fuck?
Get out here, you fucking normie.
Yes, because it was funny. This doesn't make me insane.
Okay.
What?
Speaking of living life, everyone should fucking watch Rikafag's Ratatouille video. That's a fucking dope ass video.
There you go. See?
Oh, okay. I'll
Yeah.
give it a shot. I just saw Ratatouille and that movie disgusts me, so I didn't want to click it.
Same.
But-
The
okay,
only
no,
good
no,
story set in Italy is
See-
Gunslinger Girl.
It's because you guys are all pro escapism.
Yeah, go fucking watch Ratatouille video and get like 20 minutes in and then you'll get it. It'll click
I think
and you'll see.
escapism is value. I just don't
It's
think
not
it's healthy.
necessarily that I'm pro escapism.
No, I'm just fucking.
Escapism is valuable.
I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just saying it's bad.
Is generally not recommended.
I have an
Yeah.
escapism meme for you guys.
Please share.
I think
don't
even Miyazaki has talked about escapism. He says that escape is something that is required. Like that people need to have an escape.
Yeah, because he's also not Taku, but he doesn't want to admit it.
I mean, one of my defining character traits is I basically can't do escapism at all. Like, no matter what I do.
I don't know. If I don't find the character relatable, it doesn't work. If it's escapism that has a relatable character, I probably won't even notice that it's escapism.
Escapism is a dangerous drug. Dangerous.
I mean, I don't think my
Is
life
it
is
worse
so
than
fun.
heroin?
It sucks.
No, it's okay every now and then. It's like a drug. It's okay if you're
Yeah, a little bit
cool
of
with
heroin
it.
sent
does
in
be
the
good
general.
every now and then.
But be careful, because you'll do something fucking stupid.
That's what I do every day.
That's what I think of whenever I pick up some dojin and I read it. I'm like, that's fucked up. Then I go to my job or school and I'm like, that was worth.
I've just given myself fetishes I wish I hadn't.
What?
What? You don't need it. What? No regrets. Fuck it.
Yeah, like if
You're just reading it, bro. Whatever.
I mean,
It's
depends.
too late now, and I'm
Depends on your fetish.
Boy, if you don't
whatever,
relate
dude.
to what he said, you're still savable. Please leave and go do something. You have the potential to not be subjected to this life.
I have no clue what's
Full
happening.
anal.
What? No, I hate anal. Fuck that shit. It's so gross.
I don't mind it.
Is this gonna devolve into the anal cast? Quick, everyone, what's your opinion on anal? Please detail it in like.
Love it.
What?
Conceptually, it's fine. It's just I don't want it because it's literally shitty.
I mean, I have no idea what any of them are like, so I can't comment on any of them from a non-conceptual perspective.
I haven't participated in any of them, but that doesn't mean I can't comment on them.
I have participated, and I think that you should try it.
I don't want to.
Thanks for the tip.
I mean, I may not end up given the opportunity to decide
fuck
whether I
you.
do it or not. I'll see. I mean, if someone just throws me on the bed and says I'm coming in, I'm like, okay.
What?
You're just gonna say okay?
It depends on who it is.
Oh well.
The ultimate bottom.
This is it. I'm just living in the moment, bro.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Pure instinct.
Look.
That sounds
Yeah,
like
I'm-
laziness more than instinct, but I don't know.
I'm okay with
don't
rape.
understand.
Yeah, I have no
That's
idea
much of
about
a
the chart. I have not gone autism into the chart. Somebody placed me where in the chart, and I went okay.
I mean, you
That's
placed
it.
yourself. You said like, "Hey, put me your Haruhis," and then I just put your.
Oh, well,
Haruhis.
because somebody said that first, and I was like, oh sure.
I mean, if somebody really, really wants to, it's not like I can stop them anyway. I might as well enjoy it.
Wow,
That's horrifying.
Fuck. That's generally bad, dude.
But you should write a story about that.
It's like, yeah,
That's
you
a
know,
million. There's so many mangas like that.
people can berate me, but what am I gonna do? You know, what am I gonna do? Like run away? I might as well be considerate and just open my legs. You know.
Why don't you just suck their dick instead?
You should be the one to initiate it. Exercise your power.
Yeah, it's be like, wait a second, nuh-uh. I'm sucking your dick.
It's okay. My biggest offense is being ugly and undesirable.
Well,
Nah,
that makes you boring.
I'll take it.
Hit the gym, Bella.
Not ugly.
Hit the gym?
God.
Hit the gym, Bubba.
Okay, boy, Pepsi, what are your thoughts on anal?
What are my thoughts on anal?
Yeah.
Seems fine. I've done it a few times. It's whatever.
I'm surrounded by experience.
I've done it like twice.
I have like one experience point.
Do you mean like having anal sex, or do you mean just being into
Okay, I
anal?
have had an experience
Oh,
point.
like giving it. I've never.
No. Because I literally have 0 experience, and I'm just sitting here like, I totally know what I'm talking about.
I have 7 experience points, but I'm still only level 1.
You people are so weird. What the fuck?
We're weird for
sometimes
talking about anal?
I like-
This is pretty normal.
3 of us were
My
placed
favorite
in the
part-
new type area. This is pretty normal.
Favorite part is how I
right.
replaced
I
the
mean, have you
body
ever heard a
count
bunch of
with-
dude bros talk? They're always talking about fucking
with
asses.
experience points.
That's not very unrealistic.
Yes, hello, hi, I am HollowLilly, the dude bro. I love talking about anal.
Okay,
What they do.
okay, Rikafag, what's your canonical position in anal?
What?
What do you
We're
think
getting-
about anal?
I don't.
Why not?
He's hetero, don't bother.
You never thought about it?
He thought about
I
it.
don't. I mean, I think about it, but I don't.
Quit
really
lying.
Think about it.
Yeah, you
Quit
fucking
lying.
liar.
You fucking liar. Everybody thinks about
Even
if they
even
like
if
butts
you're
or not.
straight, You still think
Don't
about
bully
it.
the hetero.
Hey, listen here. No, I'm hetero, okay? Listen. I'm hetero, and I'm like basically, okay, I guess I'm ace. Almost. Because I don't like having sex. But even I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna think about asses. Come on.
I don't understand the appeal of ass. You guys have fun.
Like,
Okay, me either. I mean, okay, I do understand the appeal, but I don't know the obsession.
I don't like it except for
Sorry,
everything I
Mom.
post on the NSFW channel. So go check that out, and you'll understand the way.
This is hilarious.
I mean,
Whoever the
mean,
fuck was posting goblins earlier can go fuck themselves. They ruined that.
I have no. What?
you mean you don't want to be you don't want to be broken by a goblin?
Someone just posted
No.
panels from Goblin
What the
Slayer.
fuck is wrong with you?
All of your fucking... This is going too far. This is way too
Okay,
far.
I'm sorry.
I am.
Sorry. I'll calm down.
Huh?
Because generally, I mean, I don't know.
Kinky.
Do you like butts or not?
I do.
That's
no,
the question here.
No, again, it's the qualifier. I do, of course, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But again, it's the qualifier was gay, you know.
It's just
Oh,
gay
was
anal.
it?
It's just
I
anal.
thought it was just butts in general because I've never done gay shit.
If that's the
doesn't
qualifier,
have to be gay anal.
Because that's what I thought you guys were talking about. I was like,
just
No,
about anal.
no, I'm not gay. I mean,
It's
I make it seem
anal.
like it.
okay, then if it's not, then it's like, yeah, of course I like ass, obviously.
Not gay.
Incredible.
Oh, I forgot that. Hang on a second. I need to get. I'm thinking about being on the receiving end. Are you all talking
Yes,
about being
that's
on the
why.
delivering?
Oh, I'm talking about.
I just thought butts in general, man. If you have experience,
Look,
then
man.
do you like it or not?
What the fuck
There's
you
no
mean?
qualifier.
There
talking
is,
about
you
getting
motherfucker.
dicked
What
down
part-
by a
what-
raging demon.
What part of do you have experience regarding butts is not related to that? You
Like two of us
You're not-
have experience here.
Because you don't listen, dude.
what the fuck, dude? Come on.
Everybody like, oh, it must be gay. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean by anal? Like, I mean, is a dick in an ass. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you like that or not? It doesn't have to be gay or not.
It doesn't have to.
I
be
think the
gay, though, like,
qualifier was that it
means-
has to be gay.
I mean,
It
there's
doesn't
Well,
have to be gay.
No.
Well, then it's boring.
You know,
No.
so much variety when you just exclude anal to gay.
Yeah, have you not done the Emmy scene from Katawa Shoujo?
No, I haven't.
Well, go do it.
Why would I
Good
want to
game.
do that?
It's a good game. And she's the best character from that game.
Could not comprehend why you wouldn't.
I don't know. Personally, I would just like to have the peen remove and have the hole and then get fucked there. How's that sound?
It's amazing.
Pretty gay.
Sure.
Yeah, everyone
Whatever.
should live their best life.
Cool beans.
My
Sounds
best
good.
life is being depressed until I can get the hell out of here.
Where are you?
Where do you
My
live?
parents' house.
Oh, time to leave.
Yeah.
Mom,
Sorry. Time to leave. Get out
I
of
mean, I
there.
don't want to be here, but I don't have any money, so it's not like I have a choice.
Acquire dollars.
Yeah,
I-
make money.
I'm not
Big
even in
job.
high school yet.
Be born rich, make more
Oh,
money.
you're not out. Oh, okay, I got you. You're like,
Like, once I'm out, I'm hoping I can go to a dorm, so I can just not be here.
move to Portland.
Move to Portland, Ohio.
You can knock two
Alright.
birds out with one stone by doing
I've
some anal
been
for
to
money.
Ohio, and my one thought is, can you fucking finish your roads? God damn it!
Move to Oklahoma.
Orange
Okay.
cones everywhere. That is Ohio.
Okay. I think Ohio is a genuinely cursed state. Everyone who I have...
What is the
Everyone...
fascination with Ohio?
I don't know. Like, I have met like at least like 6 or 7 people from Ohio, and
I'm not
everyone of
from
them have
Ohio.
been insane, autistic, and a piece of shit all at the same time. Everyone from
Monkey
Ohio.
Jones, i.e. Monkey
Hang on,
Jones.
are you-
Pretty funny.
Wait, is Mumkey from Ohio?
He's from, I think so, he's from one of those fucking empty backwards
I'm from
states.
Ohio.
Oh my god, that monkey makes so much.
Ohio is so
Carla,
tiny.
were
You
you
don't
calling
understand it.
Dyl.With?
Okay, Pepsu. I have met like 7 people from Ohio and been like super close with all of them. I have been super close with so many people from Ohio, and all of them have been batshit.
Okay, well, I'm from Maryland, and now you can start the Maryland batshit counter.
Okay.
Okay,
I mean,
you're
is
not
it just you or Maryland? I don't know.
I
Okay.
don't know. It's probably just me.
Okay, you're not even
Move
close
away
to how
from-
batshit Ohio people are.
Okay, well.
Like Ohio.
In Ohio and Cincinnati, they have this thing called like is that Kentucky or Ohio thing? I know it's in Cincinnati. It's like spaghetti chili.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
It's fucked up.
what is it? It's what is it called? Oh my god, it's right on the tip of my tongue. It's a damn it.
Jesus
Starline.
Christ will not
It's like
permit it to
Yeah,
exist.
it's like Starline chili or something.
I don't know. I don't talk about what happens in Kentucky over there. Like after you cross the Appalachian, I give up.
I mean, I was born in Kentucky. I was born there. I was born on a fucking American base. Like I was born in Fort Knox. So like I was only there for a little bit, but some of my family is from there.
Wait, where
So
the
I've
hell
been
is
there.
Fort
So
Knox?
Somewhere in Kentucky. I don't know. Fort Knox. I was born on the gold.
My entire knowledge of Fort Knox is just Goldfinger.
Yeah, I was born there. If you ever watched the movie, I'm literally sitting on the gold. Me, a baby, a naked baby. Me.
Oh, you were a cameo. I see.
Yes, I was there.
Can I get Sean Connery's number? I want to.
No, I was a baby, man.
Who's adding me?
I don't remember. What is that fucking chili called? Kentucky.
Wait, it's all Ohio.
Always has been.
I've like actually written fiction
Oh,
about the
Skyline chili. That's what it is. It's like this slop.
All
It
right.
literally is slop. Skyline chili.
According to this map, I am not safe, but I can get out of
Invasion
the
at
way.
any time.
There's no place that's safe.
Look,
That's the fucking map.
Illusion of safety.
I will have to say though, Ohio has the best roller coasters.
I have literally written fiction
Or wait,
about
was that-
Ohio being controlled by a demonic entity.
Is this is Ohio legitimately just some sort of internet meme for being this crazy place, or am I
Yeah,
just?
like everyone I met
don't
from Ohio
understand
is
it.
insane. Everyone I met from Ohio is fucking insane.
Can you
That's
give
where Jake and
examples?
Logan Paul are
Okay,
from.
okay,
even know.
okay. People who I met
how
from
many
Ohio.
levels there are.
Okay, people
No,
who I
I
met
want to
from.
know how insane.
Okay, people who I met from Ohio, my fucked up ex who was into like some super fucking weird fetishes and who was just a complete fucking narcissist from Ohio. These two people who I know who are like in this fucking weird like fucking feedback loop, which is this fucking weird beta male behavior from Ohio. Like all of my fucking okay, I'm not gonna diss them that much, but like that's what I'm gonna say right now to like cut it like super short. Okay, then other people I knew when I was like really young, they were from Ohio. They're fucking weird Homestuck fans. With like again weird fucking fetishes and like weird fucking behavioral patterns,
What
all
kind
from
of
Ohio.
fetishes?
That's kind
I'm
of funny.
curious. What kind?
Okay, one fetish I'm gonna point out was like one person was really into having guns pointed at him. That's one fetish, for example.
Okay, that is a
Hey
weird
man, they
fetish.
just like guns, bro.
That is
Come
weird. I will grant that. I will pass.
Have a gun pointed at your head during coitus.
Yeah, that's
I
also
mean-
one fetish.
I actually,
Shit's pretty
I actually
fucking
wouldn't
hype.
mind that, to be honest.
I have to say, I would not be comfortable with that scenario.
You know, I
Shit
mean,
seems pretty hype.
I don't know, man.
like if
lot
the
of-
gun goes off, like that, you blow your
If
load.
it's like a Nerf gun, absolutely, I'm into it. But like, if it's a real gun, no.
What if it was
Well,
an
if it-
unloaded real gun?
If it's not a real gun, a loaded real gun,
An
with the
airsoft
safety
is
off,
a
then, like,
reasonable
what's the point?
compromise.
No,
Yeah.
not airsoft. This is America. You can get a real gun. Come on.
If it's anything worse than a Nerf gun, absolutely not. But if it's a Nerf gun, I think I would find that. Interesting just from a humor standpoint.
Do you guys at least
Wouldn't it be,
understand it?
like the threat of immediate death would be the turn on?
It's the
Yeah.
thrill.
So is it like being on the receiving end of necrophilia, but you just don't want to go all the way?
Kind, I guess.
Oh.
No.
Speaking of guns here.
Like,
How many of you guys have shot a gun?
I have
Never.
shot several
I have.
guns. I am very good at it.
As a
Type shit.
Canadian, I have no interest in guns.
What? Come on.
As an
How do you
Well,
have
You
no
have to
interest
know
in
how
guns?
to use a
As
gun.
an-
Everybody in the world is jealous of
I-
America.
I have never
Everybody
shot
in
a
the world
gun,
should
nor
know
care
how
about
to
shooting
fire a
guns.
gun.
I'm also never shooting guns again because I
It's a
almost hit someone.
What?
necessary skill.
How did you almost hit someone?
Did
You
you
know
decide to
it.
did you decide to shoot someone and we're like, oh wow, that almost
No,
happened?
Okay, so I was at a friend's house and they own many guns because they're they just like to own guns.
They're American.
I think they hunt and stuff.
Yeah,
They're
they're
American.
Americans.
You know the deal.
I love that being American is like the best the best reason.
I mean, I love that joke that someone made. I think it was Gigac or something, but they made a joke like they were pointing out what a yandere is, and there was an anime girl holding a gun, and it was like, it's not a yandere. Yanderes don't use guns. She's probably just American. But anyway,
good.
so I was at this friend's house, and they just set up a bunch of targets in their backyard, and we were just shooting at them. And me not understanding how real life works, I'm like, I'm just going to point at this one target that's like all the way to the left of where I'm standing, and it's totally fine. The gun is like right in front of this other person's face. I mean, I totally missed. Like, okay, hang on. I need to like draw this out.
Because the visual I'm having.
I get it. You're just like
no,
not.
Like, all right. Wait, there's the firing line, and I'm standing behind the firing line, and someone else is standing behind the firing line. And so like I have the gun over the firing line.
Yeah.
Because that's where you're supposed to hold it, and I'm like, so I'm standing like kind of on like the right side of like, because it's a big firing line. Like there's like 6 people along it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like towards the end, and so I'm like, there's a target over on the left side that I wanna try hitting, because it was closer, and I was like, I can see if I actually hit it or not, because it's not a mile away. And so I turn and aim it. So like it's still over the line, and everyone else is still behind it, but like I'm putting the gun like in front of the face of someone who's behind the line.
Yes.
But it was like it was still more close than I should have let happen, but
yeah, yikes town, buddy.
yeah,
Be careful there.
Other than that, but so I don't really want to use guns anymore, just because I'm afraid I'm going to do something retarded, and it's going to be permanent. I do have a lot of experience, because that was just one time, but I've been out firing guns all the time. At least 5 times, which is basically all the time, apparently.
Bang, 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 bang. Yeah, guns.
But I am very good with, I think it was called like a 22 or something. I don't know much about gun terminology, but it was
I know everything about terminology for
It was
firearms.
a manual. It was like a fully manual rifle, so you had to reload each shot after it went. But it used rather small bullets, and it was a rifle.
Like a 22 bolt action.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's a common gun, because there were lots of them.
Yeah, the ammunition is cheap and they're fairly common. It's probably like a 22 long rifle, something.
Right.
Something
That sounds
like
about right.
easy to.
Yeah, but
You know what annoys me?
I'm a rather decent shot.
It annoys when people talk about gun rights, because it's not about gun rights. Anyone can literally make a gun in like a few hours if you have like the materials. Like making a gun isn't the hard part.
You can make a shotgun from Home Depot in like one trip.
Yeah, but the hard part is making the ammunition and gunpowder. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
I mean, making. I don't want to get into this. I'm gonna sound like a fucking illegal person.
I mean, it's pretty easy once you know how to do it, but it takes knowledge and like a lot of like expertise to like get it like right.
I mean, everything that can be made can be made.
Yeah.
So if you can manufacture it and sell it on a massive scale, then you can absolutely make it on a small scale.
Let me put it this way: there's worse things you can make much more easily than bombs that hurt.
True.
Yeah, you can make content on the internet.
Okay, FBI, this is not a terrorist
you can make
podcast.
neurotyping charts for AM.
This is not a terrorist podcast. None of us endorse terrorism on any scale. This is just an informational discussion right now.
Of course.
Exactly. Okay.
Oh well. I think I would feel comfortable firing a gun if I was the only person in the room.
Really? You don't think you're gonna shoot yourself?
No, I'm perfectly fine with that happening.
What?
Oh.
I'm too.
Enough of that nonsense. No more scamming. No more scam world. Only hype shit.
If I were to accidentally do that, I wouldn't exactly be upset, but I'm not going to go out of my way to.
Hey, you would. In Scam World 2.0, you'd be like, God, fuck.
You'll get sent to a deeper fucking level of scam when you die. Just get scammed more.
You get scammed by
the
God.
perpetual scam world.
See, you get scanned by God because then you go to hell.
If God is real, he has failed at literally everything, and I hate him.
That's why he sends you to hell.
I was given like the best stats, but keep rolling one.
I mean, if you hate God, why would you want to go to heaven anyway? Because you deal with that guy that you hate.
Because wife.
What waifus aren't in heaven? They're in hell. At least the good ones are.
No, God hogs all the waifus. You're
Yeah.
wrong.
Okay, hell on. So, I need to pull Angel Beats.
Angel Beats literally sends you to purgatory. and then
Okay,
you go
new
back
rant. Angel Beats is literally worse Hibane Renmei. They are the.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's supposed to be fun Hibane Renmei because it's in high school, and you could do wacky bullshit rather than mope and be sad.
At the time I saw Angel Beats, I thought it was like the best show of its type that I'd ever seen. But that
It
was
made me
pretty
cry.
bad, my anime watching.
I
Like, it
thought
made
it
me
was
cry.
alright. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I watched it when it came out. I thought it was alright.
Ano Hana is the only show to actually make me like cry though.
I thought Anohana was just awful.
I mean, it's cry porn. I can immerse myself into it
I
enough
like
to get
cry
into it.
porn. I just thought all the characters were assholes, and it just kind of killed the mood for me.
Okay, I'm going to rant about that. I fucking hate when people are like, oh, all of these characters are assholes, none of these characters are likable. When like that, like, if the point is that the characters aren't likable, then why the fuck are you complaining about the characters being unlikable?
Look, no,
Oh, you mean like Shinji?
if you're
You
alright-
motherfuckers!
if like, I personally can't stand it when the characters are assholes, but like if that is something that you're okay with standing to watch them progress into not assholes, like that's great for you. I'm not willing to put up with their bullshit in order to reach that point.
I mean, Guts is an asshole, but he's also a compelling character.
No,
I love
Guts
Guts.
isn't an asshole.
He does asshole things. Of course, he's a very compassionate and nice person when you strip that away, but he's like a tsundere, but also like a 250-pound man with a big sword.
I mean, I think he's
No,
like a
no.
Kuro more
Look,
like.
the best example of Guts being a nice person is in the the Lost Children arc. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, with Jill.
Where he literally no. I mean, yes, with Jill, but before that, where he literally gets like one child that's about to be fucking killed by fucking.
That's Jill.
No, not
the
Jill.
anime or
Was
the
it Jill?
manga?
No. Before Jill, there was some other person.
Jill's not the butterfly.
No, I know it's not the butterfly. There was some other kid before Jill. That he started waving around. Let me get this.
Oh, when he puts the kid on his sword.
Yes, he puts a kid on his sword and he's waving it around, and then he's like, "If you want to live, come with me." Just now that I think about it.
Guts is such a cool dude. I need to read.
And he literally like waves him around and everything, and it's like you get the feeling that he's using this kid like he doesn't give a shit about him. But the thing is that he used the kid to kill the fairies, and if he didn't do that, the kid would have died. So it's like Guts cares. It's just the way that he cares makes it looks like he doesn't care, but he literally cares. And then after that scene, he literally tells the entire town, "You would have left this kid to die. Go fuck yourself."
Wait, so is that like Kudere archetype? Would you say?
No, it's just Guts being a nice person. That
Guts is
happens.
just Guts. You
Being a
can't
nice person.
classify him.
Yeah, Guts is just perfect. You know.
Guts is Guts.
Let
Guts
me
is great.
let me find this because it's a good scene.
The Lost Children arc it exemplifies everything about Guts as a character.
Mm-hmm. Where the fuck is the arc?
Oh
You know,
god, I just
every
ranted.
fucking
My
normie weeb
phone
tells
is
me
not
about Haruhi. Is I'm like, hey, have you ever seen Haruhi? And they're like, yeah, I
Haruhi's
saw
gay.
it. I don't like I just don't like her because she's self-centered. I'm like,
Or
that's the point of the show, you dumb shit.
she's literally a kamidare. Like what?
Stupid fuck.
The point is that you're self-centered.
That's literally the point.
That's the
The
premise.
premise, yeah.
The premise
I
is
mean,
that the
at least-
entire world is collapsing because she's
Hey,
too
It's
self-centered.
better than someone who likes the show because they think that she's not being self-centered.
I've never seen that.
I'm glad I haven't. But then again, no one I know will even try to watch Haruhi, so it's not like.
Because they're dumb shits. They're like, I want to watch Bunny Girl Senpai or some shit. Garbage.
Well,
I
like,
don't
all
get
my
why
friends are
people.
just like, I don't want to watch it because the art style is so gross. That's
What?
they say about
It's
Eva.
literally the art style with stuff.
That's what everything looks like now.
Oh, there you
Everything
go.
looks like Haruhi.
Okay, Haruhi
know.
stills look like trash, but Haruhi in motion looks fucking awesome.
There, see.
How does it look like trash? It looks beautiful.
It looks so
they like-
good. What are you
It
talking about?
looks great. Yeah, it looks great. But the stills don't look great. Like when you take a screenshot of Haruhi, I don't think that looks great.
I guess. Yeah,
but like in
Yeah,
motion,
it's
it looks
fucking
fucking awesome.
huge,
They
but-
all expect it to look like SAO, and I'm like, shut the fuck up and watch good anime.
everything now, like all modern anime looks like Haruhi.
These fucking
Haruhi
facts
plus
are-
Beyond.
people
Everything
think
looks
that
like
Demon
Haruhi
Slayer
plus
looks
Beyond.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, look at Guts being such a good boy.
Yeah, I'm posting the
Like,
like you can tell that he gives zero fucks, but he does care. One second, let me.
like Haruhi
Most-
in motion is like genuinely the best looking anime I've seen. Like it's fucking awesome.
Berserk
I need to finish
1997 is the best looking.
I just think.
No,
I
wait.
really, really like how
you don't
Lane.
know, actually. You don't know. Never mind. You're watching it the correct way.
I like the way that Lane uses negative space. Like when it's like the
Yeah.
stair shot when she's walking out of her house and you see like this little zigzag that communicates depth so well, even though it's like a 10% of the screen being.
It's such an abstract representation that can just be translated as such concrete visions.
Man, what episode is it where she
I guess kind of like what they did in like the first episode of Steins Gate when they had Tokyo and that weird lighting.
Oh, there it is, and then there's the other. There's the final. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I
Just
need
speaking
to
out,
get around.
thinking out loud.
I need to get around to like watching anime eventually because I'm not a big anime watcher in general. I don't
You
watch-
made a blur, boy.
Yeah, good look. Yeah, in my opinion, you could tell that Guts saw himself in the boy. That's what that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason why he was nice.
Every single time he interacts with children, which is the entirety of the Lost Children arc, his empathy, it is the best exemplification of Guts because it allows him to project himself onto other characters completely. Jill is Guts in the Lost Children arc, and Jill is also the reader, which is my theory, but that's a completely different.
No, I agree. 100% agree. Like, literally, a point at the end is Jill saying that she wants some escape, and Guts literally saying there is no escape, which is a representation of the manga as a whole. There is no general escape from.
Yeah.
No escape from hell.
Yeah.
Everyone I see analyze it on YouTube, though, I think misinterprets it like as a very surface level. Oh, Jill is Guts, which is true, but that's because the reader is also Guts. I think that it takes like a little bit more of a real turn with, like you said, how she interacts with Guts, because Guts is sort of like this distant, fictitious character to her, and at the end, Jill's like awakened to the fact that her reality, she's going to have to make the choice to live in, which is the representation of the reader's interaction with the manga. But everyone misses that. Everyone's just like, oh, Jill is Guts, like for fuck's sake.
I just want to give Guts a hug. He needs it.
He doesn't want to be touched.
I'll give him an air hug.
He'll just look at you and scorn, like,
He'll probably look at me like I'm an idiot because I'm hugging the fucking air.
yeah.
I'm taller than Guts.
How?
Guts.
How the he's
So is Void.
6'7".
What?
No, he's not. That's a fake. That's fake because the Berserk guidebook says he's like 6'8", which is wrong because it also says in the guidebook he's 4 inches taller than Judo. The previous canonical height for Guts was 6'3".
Oh, okay. Really? Fuck, I'm taller than Guts. That's bullshit.
Yeah, you and I are the same.
I mean, either way, Guts is like at least half a foot taller than me.
Being tall isn't that good.
Like towering 5'8", which is more like 5'6" because I'm slouching constantly.
Imagine
you're
slouching.
short-
You should have fucking base Chad posture where you never slouch.
I don't want to be a Chad.
Imagine
you should be a
being-
Chad. Everyone should be a Chad.
If you're short, you can build muscle really easily. Hit the gym for like 2 years and you'll be jacked.
I don't even have body mass.
Careful,
Get
just
body
be a Chad.
mass.
I
Fucking
try, but like
Stop being lazy, you little fuck.
That's what I thought for like 5 years, and then now I am cool because I'm bigger than everyone.
My
maybe
God.
one day eating will be fun.
Maybe one day you'll live.
Nah, I doubt it.
Oh,
Yes, you will.
Also, why you're... Oh my fucking god, I'm apparently capturing some fucking image or something. Anyway, oh no, I don't think I am. I don't know if I am. Maybe I am. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Void, your fucking Evangelion video was the only non-beta explanation of Evangelion I've seen, and that was fucking amazing.
They're all shit. Everyone's shit.
Yeah, everyone just puts Evangelion in the most fucking beta terms possible, and then just made an Eva video, and it just literally just wasn't beta.
It's because they relate to Shinji, and they're stupid.
I relate to Shinji because I'm stupid.
You're beta!
Yes.
I'm okay with accepting that fact.
No, because you don't. The point of the show is that you should stop being Shinji.
People relating to NHK is low-key cringy as fuck.
No, it's not. NHK is a real fucking story of real people.
I mean, I related to it too, but the whole point is that you're supposed to get yourself to a place where you don't want to relate to.
I mean, the entire point of NHK is if you relate to the characters, the solution is to do something worthwhile. That's the point of NHK.
The problem is we don't have Misaki in our life.
No, that's not the fucking point! Okay, I'm gonna go from Kuro right now.
And that's the only reason why he gets out of it. That's not the point.
No, that's not the fucking point! Misaki isn't the reason he gets out of it. Misaki has nothing to do with why he actually gets out of it.
I'd do anything for Misaki.
No, you're a fucking retard. Sato doesn't get out of his situation because of Misaki. Misaki is an auxiliary and doesn't really contribute to his personal progress. Misaki is there just to cannibalize on Sato for her own ends. And the end conclusion of the show is to get out of Sato's position, you have to do something worthwhile with your life. And to get out of Misaki's position, you also have to come to terms with your past. So the point is, Sato moves forward while Misaki accepts her past. That's the fucking point of NHK.
Carla, she's still a hot anime girl. It doesn't matter what the show is trying to make a point out of.
Okay, you're a fucking dumbass.
Wait, were we talking about NHK?
See, the problem is that you're both right. See, the problem is that you're 100% correct about the themes, but the audience is literally him and his views. He's
Okay,
just like,
yeah, I get
cute
it.
anime
I
girl.
agree, Carla.
Cute anime girl, I'm too stupid to understand. That's literally the thought
The
process.
reason
of
why
most anime
everyone
fans.
is Sato is because they don't have a Misaki. That's the whole fucking...
No, okay, see the thing is, I'm both Sato and Misaki. I'm both Sato and Misaki. That's like my internal thought process, literally just this driving force between Sato and Misaki. And the way I grow as a person is by continuing to move forward and continuing to accept my past, because that's the way that most people should grow. And like that's just like my internal conflict at its core. Like that's why I relate to both of those characters, because not only do they have the same internal conflict as me, they have the same conflict between each other, and they have the same approaches to like literally everything they do as I have to literally everything I do.
Sounds deep.
If I was
Make
a girl,
a video
I'd be
about
Misaki.
Make a video about it.
I could make a video about it, but
Please do. There should be more analysis videos that are not shit, that are life affirming.
I mean,
I'm literally tired of shit analysis in
I could
general.
actually try, because like I was fucking looking on YouTube for NHK videos and no one fucking made
There
NHK
are
videos.
none.
There are no
You have
fucking
to-
NHK videos.
I have
There
no
are
idea
none.
how to
You have
analyze
to-
something.
Do I have to? I have to make a video on how to analyze, because this is fucking annoying me too.
Yeah,
No one
just
knows how to
fucking
do
go
shit.
and make an NHK video, like
I can like internalize it for myself, but I just don't put it into words.
Like
It
my-
just,
I
like,
could
I
analyze
just
Berserk,
feel
that's
like,
because I've
okay,
read
this is
every
cool.
single part 8 times.
I don't know, that wasn't
Or
very
more.
well put.
Like the thing is that you need a general internal motive for why you do it,
Yeah.
and once you do that, it's understandable.
I mean, my current project is putting together my ICP lecture, which I will again affirm ICP is based. Like, okay, how many of you have a raid build an ICP before? Because I don't know.
I don't know what an ICP is.
Insane Clown Pussy.
They got wrecked by Howard Stern on his podcast. Or by,
I don't fucking care about
some
Howard
dude.
Stern. Fuck Howard Stern. It's literally just there to get fucking reactions based on like nothing.
They pussied out.
I don't fucking care. Like, ICP is life affirming.
Alright, sorry.
Insane
My
Clown
Wi-Fi
Pussy. Okay. Like, Insane Clown Pussy is life affirming fucking philosophical music for people who are not intelligent enough to comprehend like higher IQ life affirming
How
music.
are you talking
That's
about?
hilarious.
I'm talking about Insane Clown Pussy and how they're based. And
No,
how
what you're
one
describing
appreciates
is
them.
Tool. ICP is like Tool but not Tool at all, and even lower IQ. And
Yeah, ICP is literally low IQ Tool. That's what ICP is.
I misspoke. Please don't put those two bands in the same sentence.
They are the same. They are the same sentence. ICP is just a much lower IQ representation of Tool.
That's in the same
unironically
sentence. Separate.
Okay, sure.
Just edit it and just put like a second-long break in between them.
With like my PFP saying sorry about this man.
I'm not gonna edit this. It's fucking 2 hours long.
Is that how long we've been in here?
Yeah.
Oh my god, time flies.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna make.
For the 5 people that will watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I can just make an NHK video like on the down low.
Please do.
Because no one has fucking made an NHK video for some fucking reason.
No one makes anything. You have to realize no one makes good analysis. No one makes anything. Everyone is stupid, and once you put your foot down and you go like, it will never be done until I do it, it'll be done.
I mean, that's my
I
core
think
philosophy.
NHK is so personal that it's like whatever you extrapolate from it upon your like initial or whatever viewing you've done, that's like the only thing you'll get out of it.
No,
unless you
NHK
watch
isn't.
it again. Like
That's not how art works.
No,
but
NHK
whatever.
isn't
I think that's how
personal.
NHK works.
NHK isn't personal
No.
at all. It has a really specific thing it's trying to say. And it conveys it in a really fucking beautiful way. Like, everyone just goes like, oh, I'm a need, I'm basically Sato. The point of Sato isn't that he's a need. Sato isn't, like, philosophically bound to be a need. The point of Sato is due to the specific circumstances he finds himself in, as in the reluctance to move, like, on with his life, as represented by his literal inability to leave his house, is what makes him a need. And once he gets past that, he stops progressively being a need. And I would say that's the biggest failure of NHK, where Sato isn't really a need for the screen time, because the screen time is mostly focused on the specific occasions where Sato stopped being a need. So it kind of
I
misses the
still
main
think
theme.
NHK is a hypocritical message.
No, it's not hypocritical. Misaki isn't a good person. Misaki doesn't help Sato at all.
Because she still exists in the show. Like, the
She
whole
doesn't
point,
help Sato.
Guess what? When an actual NEET watches that, what they're going to say is, well, I'm exactly like Sato, but I have no reason to not be like him because I also don't have Misaki.
The point is that Misaki never helps Sato at all. Misaki just slows down Sato's growth for her own personal fulfillment. That's the point of the fucking show. Misaki doesn't help. Misaki's a cope. Waifus are a cope. That's the point. Like, your waifu won't save you.
Scam rule.
Yes, literally they kind of hint this at literally the beginning.
That's some big brain stuff.
Like at the beginning of the show, I actually remember this. At the beginning of the show, they mention what's the name of the main character? I forgot it is Sato.
Sato, yeah.
Yeah. He watches TV and he has, this is the conspiracy of NHK and there's only cute girls or whatever. And he's
Okay, by the way,
he
like,
literally
hallucinates
mentions
in
this
the anime, but like for no reason. But in like the manga and the novel, he hallucinates because he was taking like legal cocaine.
Yeah, but I don't care. The point is that at the beginning, he literally starts to talk about literally how anime and waifus are just a conspiracy, a conspiracy, and then literally he gets a waifu in real life.
Yeah, that's a conspiracy.
Kinda funny.
And his wife who scams him. His wife who constantly keeps on scamming him through the entire show.
Yeah.
Isn't she also why he chose not to die at that whole suicide pact?
Misaki made him want to kill himself. Misaki was the reason he went from wanting to not to die to wanting to die. Misaki literally made him suicidal in that scene. That's the fucking point of that scene. Misaki managed to, like,
Misaki sounds like some evil whore.
Misaki is an evil whore, but she's confused.
Look, the point is that waifus are evil. That's the point. And literally, Anno emphasizes this again with the rebuild movies.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think relationships with real people are a lot more valuable.
Yes.
Which I think should go without saying.
Like again, like if you generally want to know what is the values of a piece of art, just look at its conclusions, and it tells you everything about the art. I mean, not everything, but it tells you what it values and what it concludes, and that's how you know it's.
Imagine your favorite art
analysis
concluding.
correct.
And the conclusion of NHK is literally like rejecting the proposition that Misaki gave Sato, while accepting that Misaki could form like an actual complete human connection, whilst not like playing into her rules.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
I
point
like
of the
how they
show.
always try to die at the end. I thought it was hilarious. Just that it was like written out that way, not the actual situation.
And that's kind of the point. The point is that you can still watch anime and have fun.
I mean, the fucking
you know.
end suicide scene directly parallels the fucking first suicide scene, in which Sato was still trying to kill himself because of Misaki. But in the first scene, it was a move of desperation, where Misaki made him realize how worthless he was to literally everyone. While in the second scene, he was like, "Oh, I'm worth something to someone," except the only way he knew how to go about it is suicide, because he still conceptualized himself as worthless.
I think what made that last scene so great is that like Sato fully intended to actually die, and that was pure like accident that he didn't. Like he did actually jump.
Yeah. Because that's the only way he thinks he can be valuable. He thinks he can only be valuable if he fucking
Hearing
dies.
you all discuss this has definitely convinced me that I need to watch it.
Maybe I should make
Just
that.
watch it. The moment you pick it up, you'll want to finish.
Well, I mean, I got a couple episodes in, and I'm like, well, this guy's a dud, and this girl's like, whatever. I guess I'll stop. I suppose I don't know.
I've been thinking about making a video on Moe. Maybe that would be the best reason to do it. Maybe I'll.
Selected.
That's
Tell
not.
all of these stupid meats that
The
waifus
Moe
are a
is.
crutch.
The Moe is. Yeah, literally. Like I want to make a video about how Moe is evil. It's like.
That would actually be a really good title. That would be
a good
Moe
title.
is evil.
Actually,
that could be a successful video.
Put like a picture of Yui in the thumbnail. Just be like super cute, and that's it. Just Moe.
Have like Yui,
Huh.
but just like just doodle on her face like a demon looking face.
Huh.
That's like the perfect clickbait. It's like
NHK.
not too much.
Why Moe is evil. Huh.
That's,
That might be a good
I,
idea.
I think I hear the void coming up with good ideas.
I'll be willing to like feed an
It
autistic
sounds like a
opinion.
Minecraft villager.
I have no fucking clue what the fuck that even means.
Minecraft
Okay,
villagers say,
I'm gonna send you a
huh. That's what Minecraft villagers say.
The villagers in Minecraft
really?
make sounds like like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me get a clip.
Okay. Okay, I haven't played Minecraft in like a decade, since like the alpha build or whatever.
Good. Somebody compiled a 1 hour villager sound compilation.
Also, you're missing out on Minecraft. It's like
Here
the
you go.
best.
Oh my god.
It's alright. It's like, if you aren't in Minecraft already, you probably don't care.
Nah, I disagree with that notion.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That is literally okay. How I sounded. Holy shit. I take back. I mean, I didn't say anything bad, but like you're 100% correct. So you know.
I mean, Minecraft is like.
that the Canadian apologizing?
I mean, I'm apologizing because I'm fucking Canadian, but it's like.
I'm just joking, dude.
I know.
Minecraft taking away popularity from Fortnite made me unironically think Fortnite is great.
What?
You're a zoomer.
Wasn't
You're such
the
a
whole
fucking
point-
zoomer.
Wasn't the whole point of the Minecraft resurgence that it was better than Fortnite and that Zoomers are doing stupid shit?
Yeah, but it took away like I'm really contradictory for no reason, so I hated Fortnite when it was popular, but now that it's not that popular, I'm starting to like realize that
Jesus Christ.
it's fun because I downloaded it on my Switch because I was bored, and I win every single game because it's all little kids on hand.
What is wrong with these Zoomers?
I'm a unique one. I never played Fortnite.
I mean, I've never played it either, but you know,
well, you're not a Zoomer.
I mean, maybe I am. You don't know.
I mean, that's
Void
fair.
is 50.
I'm not that old. Jesus Christ. I'm actually pretty young, but you know, whatever.
I don't know. I'm gonna guesstimate like 25 to 35.
No, I think that's way too old.
No, that's pretty accurate. Not the 35 parts.
I was
was
leaving
24.
I was leaving the range open because the wider it is, the more likely I will succeed.
I mean, I'd assume that Void is like 23 or 26.
I'm assuming closer to the
Yeah.
25 end.
How old
Yeah.
are you? Like 18, 19?
Yeah, I'm 23.
20,
yeah.
I was close. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm 18.
Carla being 18 surprised me because she's not
I'm
that much older.
18.
Haha, I'm the youngest, 17.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I constantly
You're
boom about
You're more
everything.
successful than me.
So, like, everyone can be forgiven for mistaking me for being older when I just fucking post boomer shit every time when I talk about anything.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 18.
18. Wow, you don't sound 18. You sound.
I know.
Avoiding
know.
being an adult.
Being an adult's for losers, that'll never happen.
Nah,
I mean-
just pretend you're a child and, pretend it works out.
It's not like I could get away with being an adult anyway. They'll always call me out.
Hmm.
But I mean, I can hold a part-time job, so I'll take that.
Same, but my coworker's a cuck and I hate him. I like making fun of him.
Same. My coworker is a pansexual Trump supporter.
Wow.
I don't you arrive at that conclusion.
I
That's-
don't understand his existence, but I will tease him till the end of days.
I mean, I don't see why a pansexual can't be a Trump supporter. So
I mean,
Okay, like, if you're
it's not impossible, but like, if you're pansexual, then you should have, you should understand that a lot of the things that,
No, I mean,
like the Republican movement stands for is anti that.
I mean, like, it's a contradiction in terms because pansexual is a fundamentally progressive term. Like, if you were a pansexual Trump supporter, you'd probably call yourself bisexual, right?
Yeah, that's
I
another
guess.
So it's like a linguistic, like, tribal conflict at that point. Okay. It's like if you supported abortion, you were like, I'm pro killing babies. That's my stance on abortion, right? Like that sounds incoherent due to the linguistic context.
Hmm.
Yeah. But like, if you identify as pansexual, that is evidence to the fact that is in theory evidence to the fact that you don't think that there are just two.
I mean,
But I
in
mean,
my
then
opinion,
again, like,
pansexuals
if-
are basically bisexuals, which are just. I also fuck dogs, I guess.
But I mean, then again, it is possible that you could be pansexual and like you like that aspect of politics, but you just happen to agree with Trump on everything else. But either way, fuck Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, Trump has managed to like accumulate the biggest cult of personality since like
Oh, yeah, he
Obama, I
is.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, since the last president, that's I don't know.
I mean, Trump is literally just like the Republican version of Obama. Like through everything. Like the reaction the Democrats have to Trump is exactly the same reaction the Republicans had to fucking Obama. It's
Well,
just the
wasn't
same
it
thing.
crazy? Well,
thing is that-
crazy. I was in 8th grade when Trump got elected.
Dude,
I don't even know how old that is.
I was in 8th grade too.
I had dropped out of school by the time Trump was elected.
Or no, it was 7th grade for me. Never mind.
Oh, 7th grade, okay.
Yeah,
because I'm a year older than you.
yeah, I was already
but I
fucking out of
remember
school.
in I think 3rd grade was when Obama got elected, and I was like, I wanted McCain not because I actually understood politics, but because I thought whenever a president died, they got a coin named after them, and I wanted a new
What?
coin.
What? That is so incoherent. What the fuck?
That's why I'm a new type, dude.
Dude,
I remember the annoying orange doing a fucking politics episode when Obama was elected. It was like Obama versus McCain as annoying orange characters.
I mean, I think it's also evidence to the fact that I was just a totally retarded child.
Apparently.
As a child, I kept getting placed in like the teachers like, I think this kid's kind of smart, and they placed me in like the smart class, but I'm like too autistic and too like angry to do any of the work, so they end up always moving. Like I just can't focus for shit.
They just kept putting me in the front because I got diagnosed with ADHD, and their response was to put me in the front and make sure I was always paying attention. which just made me want to not pay attention even more. And
Yeah, like-
thus, I started my fuck, I'm trying to remember the word because it's been a while. Origami cult.
Like, even when I was in school, I was just... I was still just obsessed with, like, fucking lexical thinkers. I was always, like, looking up to, like, the lexical people who were, like really advanced in, like, physics and, like, mathematics. And I was like, oh, I want to be just like them. And then I'm a fucking plebe impressionist.
Math is gay. You don't want it.
Math is gay.
Cool.
No.
Math is cool. I
Math
like
is
math.
math is only conceptually cool, which is ironic in
True,
its own
true.
way.
I am in calculus BC. It is terrible, and I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, math. I think you prefer philosophy as a side.
Honestly, yes. Like, I am deeply involved. I'm in the highest math class that you could be in at my age, assuming you don't, like, skip grades and shit. It's awful. It's awful. It's so impractical.
I mean, I just dropped out of school.
Like, there is no use for calculus BC except, like, the most niche out there shit.
But about philosophy, someone mentioned about that being related. I think Void mentioned that being related to impressionisticism. Bad phrasing,
Yes.
but I think you need to be lexical to explain for philosophy. Like you can't communicate your philosophy
Maybe that
effectively
explains why I'm more
without
of a
terminology.
philosophy person than,
I think it depends. Like, I think philosophy is kind of all over the map. I think because like philosophers tend to be impressionistic, but they try to use specific language to explain their bullshit.
Yeah, but like for example, explaining like you need to be lexical to communicate whether an object's properties are relative to it or object is relative to its properties. Or defined by might be a better way of phrasing it. But that's like a very lexical.
that is something that I don't
inquiry.
understand. Please don't at me.
Rikafag, where do you think Ayn Rand is on the new red type chart?
She is literally. I didn't put it in the chart, but she's in between Spinoza. 1 second, let me. Because I made a chart about this. She would be.
Oh, can you do me a favor?
1 second, let me get this. I'll put this in organization stuff. She would be in between Kant. No. She's maybe not. Maybe not. She's not that technical. She's more.
Oh, are these philosophers?
Yeah.
Where's
I would say-
Aristotle?
Right underneath Kant. Yeah, I
don't
would say
know
a little.
any of these guys.
I would say a little bit. I would say maybe under Spinoza. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
I have done no.
Like like I think that's kind of funny. Like you know, I'll change that. I'll put Ayn Rand just to
Actually
fuck
sad.
with everyone.
I had to transfer out of psychology because I needed a gym credit.
Also Stirner being in clear sight is like straight up wrong. Stirner's a new type. Stirner's a new type.
I know he's a new type, but he's literally used all the time as everything's a spook, bro.
Yeah,
to the point where I don't give a fuck. It's like fuck you.
Fucking Ancoms have usurped Stirner to fucking be like he's like literally used to be a moralist to their specific philosophy when his entire point is that you can't be a fucking moralist towards any specific philosophy. Like he was a bit.
Can we bring back the tradition of instead of like portrait paintings, can we go back to stone head making?
No.
Like the emote spam.
1 second, let me.
Because I personally think that would be way more impressionistic of them.
I want to get a sculpture of myself eventually before I die.
I mean, what kind of respecting person doesn't have a sculpture of themselves before
Why do you
they
want
die?
the sculpture of yourself?
So that I can because I was doing the stars video and I have like there's Augustus, there's Julius Caesar, and I'm like, yeah, I should have a sculpture of myself because it's literally fucking epic instead of a fucking painting.
100% agree.
Also, who's the biggest new type on the chart? That I remember his face. I don't recognize him.
New type, that's Hegel.
Oh yeah, Hegel.
Fucking
yeah, Hegel.
like there's no one that belongs anywhere else than fucking Hegel.
Hegel's a fucking new type.
Yeah, like which I think would be it would be funny to have like Stirner as right next to Hegel because Hegel Stirner was a young left Hegelian or something.
He
so
was
like
a part
having,
of that crowd, but he was like in like complete distinction towards that crowd insofar as he was actually had like principles.
like, the thing is that he was an anti-Hegel because Hegel was all about everything is about ideas, and Stirner kind of literally just decided, fuck Hegel, I'm going to go the opposite direction in terms of fuck all ideas.
Yeah. I mean, Stirner wasn't fuck all ideas. Stirner was like, your idea should be self-actualization, which is why he's like
I
in the
know.
Sensuous camp, yeah.
But it's literally what he became, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah, he's
I know what you mean.
Like fucking
It's like, there you
modern Stirner memes are like so fucking cancerous. But like he was literally like the progenitor of like every individualist anarchist train of thought, and it just turned into spooks, bro. It's fucking lame.
Yeah, here you go. I put Ayn Rand right next to Aristotle as a...
Yeah, Aquinas, Aristotle, Ayn Rand. That's the trifecta, the pre-A's of Ayn Rand.
I appreciate like Kant, Aristotle, Spinoza, Thomas Aquinas, and what's his name?
That is one.
What's his name? Socrates. Fuck yeah, Socrates.
Socrates.
Socrates. Yeah, Socrates. Literally at the lateral, which makes them literally the best philosophers. Like, maybe I should remove Bruder. Like literally, like all the lateral philosophers are correct. Like Kant, Aristotle, Spinoza, Ayn Rand, Thomas Aquinas, Socrates. I mean, I guess Schopenhauer and Nietzsche.
Basic hoes.
Yeah, literally, all the lateral thinkers are the best.
Nietzsche was based.
I 100% agree as a lateral thinker.
It's like let me rephrase this.
Like I'm a hardcore existentialist, so like I agree with everyone near new type.
It's like
except Hegel, because Hegel is cringe.
Yeah, Hegel's a fucking idiot. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Correct about it.
I mean, he made a valid point. He just didn't do it in a valid way.
Where the fuck are you? Come on. Correct about everything. 1 second, let me. Correct about everything. This is gonna everyone's gonna give me shit for it, but I don't give a fuck.
Where are you posting it?
I'm gonna post it in the. Fuck! I fucked it up. 1 second.
Y'all hating on math, SMH. It's because math is gay.
I mean, math is conceptually cool, but like when it comes to like actual math facts, it's like, I'm like the master of the universe. I rule everything. It's like, no, you
which
don't.
is
People who
literally
geek
the
out
opposite.
about math are just as stupid as people who geek out about anime. They're just fans of a different thing.
No,
sure.
Not really. Wait, like math fans literally just go like, "Hey, I can literally like fucking change reality if I know enough math." And it's like math is really good.
No.
Math is really good for describing things.
Tell them to change.
Math is analyzing the most lateral thing possible and like extrapolating nothing from it but a number.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, not this theme is cool and impacts my life and reflects the world. It's the answer to this is like 7x.
I mean, yeah, it's because they were like, well, what if we had a letter that represented all of the numbers instead?
Okay, that's kind of not math. That's kind of demeaning math, but still hilarious.
Let me just write my
there you go.
R with an extra stem.
Where's the organizing thing? There you go. This is probably gonna give me. This is gonna give me like everyone gonna give me cringe.
That's fucking hilarious.
Correct about everything. Hey, you're forgetting the new types.
Yeah, for good reason.
Hey, the new types were probably right. They probably just couldn't explain it.
No, they were fucking wrong on
I mean,
everything.
Hegel was literally right, and he literally couldn't explain it.
Hegel
Oh,
thought
no,
that fucking
look.
we were all gods,
Okay,
and that we
you
will
guys are
all
just-
we merged to
You
become
guys are just
God.
sucking human
That's a
calculated
part of
dick.
Ava.
Hegel was like, we have to all come together through synthesis so that God can understand himself. Because consciousness is God, and therefore
Wait, who said that?
How much
Hegel's
LSD?
a fucking insane.
Is Hegel
Hegel's
the
a-
one at the top right?
But
Yes,
Hegel
Hegel-
He
was.
sounds like a retard.
He is.
He
but
was a retard. Okay, I wonder how much LSD Hegel would have dropped if he was born when LSD was invented.
Dude,
I don't know.
He'd probably just turn into like 100% lexical, I bet you.
No, I think Hegel would just do a lot of LSD constantly and never like write anything.
Sounds like a new type.
Yeah,
When do I get my drugs?
just get drugs.
Same.
I'm joking, I don't want them. When I hit like 25, I'll try.
Saying this when your brain
That's not-
stops developing.
Also, why did you
I'm just
delete
gonna
that
be
post,
safe.
Rikafag?
Just in case, you never know.
I
I don't
wanted to
want-
I'm
link
not
it.
I
guess
I don't
I'll
want
link
people
it.
associating anything.
I'm not exactly a neurobiologist, so I'll take their word for it, even if they're just making up shit so that I don't do drugs.
Do drugs, just don't die. An overdose, I guess.
Do X, just don't die for doing it too much, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, literally.
Fair.
Like, just don't die, you know? Have you tried not dying?
I mean, I've tried the opposite.
Well, you're not succeeding, so obviously you
I can
fail.
tell. I'm pretty bad.
You sound like you're bad in generally everything.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I mean, I'm graduating high school on time, so I don't care.
I mean, at least that's something.
I mean,
At least I know that my taste is a thing.
you can get better always. Like,
Yeah, you could get better. I mean,
Your taste isn't something you should have to or worry about improving. Just watch whatever the fuck makes you happy. Or makes you interested, not happy, because nothing makes you happy. If you
When
like
it comes to anime, yeah.
what you need to do is not have taste. It's more understand yourself, and then you acquire taste alongside it. If you can understand why you enjoy something, then you truly understand everything.
Oh.
Because
that's
most
not-
people just go like, "Oh yeah, I like X because some things," you know. When you can truly say, "Yes, this is like good," and this is like why I like it, then you
I
find
know-
one.
things I feel like
know
they're commenting
why
on my
I like-
life.
I know why I like stuff like Eva and Lane on like what most people consider like the good side of anime. But like when it comes to stuff like Yuri and stuff, I have no idea why I like it so much.
I mean,
Because
like,
they're girls.
No, it's more profound than that.
I think I could explain some of that, but that would just be like something from where I come.
I mean, go for it. I'll take it.
So we were kind of getting into this earlier with the whole discussion that like Carla and a few other people were having. So Yuri and I guess Yaoi also, actually no, Yaoi is completely different. But Yuri lets you experience like a relationship from like from more of like an insight of a female's perspective without having that sort of inherent power dynamic that will exist between a male and a female relationship. Because when you take a look at a lot of stuff that features a male and female relationship, you're a lot of it's based on sort of like the stereotypes and predisposed natures of males and females versus like the raw emotions and personalities of each individual. I think Yuri gets a lot more to the core of what each individual wants and isn't so much predicated on their nature as these two separate entities that fit together for biological reasons.
Well, I
Well,
agree with
that's
that
that's a
reasoning.
really good question. But what does that also apply to yaoi? Is that why women like
We
yaoi?
established that yaoi is based on a fundamental power dynamic. Like it's
Yeah.
usually
No, but that's the thing. Maybe women love that power dynamic and they want more.
Oh
of it.
yeah, it could be like the same way because I think women are at like the receiving end of that power dynamic in a male-female relationship a lot of the time. So maybe that's just something they like have a mind out or an eye out for.
I mean, even in hetero romance, though, I always project myself onto the female part. Usually, I mean, no matter what's going on, I'm always the bottom in it, so I
Same.
can usually enjoy hetero stuff just fine.
If I'm like not in sync with the male character, I tend to hate them because I feel like I don't know. That's just sort of how I explain.
Okay, I think you like literally talked about everything now.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
we
what?
need to start at the history of the universe.
What should the fucking podcast be called?
The biggest history in the universe.
No, like what the fuck do they call this podcast? Huh?
The biggest dick in the world.
The Kuro cast.
No.
Because I'm the star.
No.
How about new typecast?
No, I'm just gonna call it the biggest dick in the universe.
What about Neurocast?
Neurocast.
Please don't call it
I'm
that.
gonna call it the biggest dick in the universe. Yeah, that's the best one.
Maddox is gonna sue you and sue all of us.
Oh my god, we're
Maddox,
gonna
who
be on the
cares?
Big Show.
He can't sue you. He has no money.
Yeah, he already. How much did he spend on suing
He
Dick?
owes.
Oh no, I have
He
to
dropped
convert this
30K on
into
his shitty
Alright, hang on,
website.
we need to petition for Digi to make a
Allegedly.
continuation of the hottest goss in the universe.
He fucking
There
made a
isn't
lecture,
enough guys.
Like it doesn't
Hello?
matter anymore. He's covered
Did I
all
die?
of it. Hello,
Fuck.
wait. Hello?
I think I died.
Where did
I
you
mean,
die?
you're alive now.
I mean, I can't die, but did I go silent for a few seconds?
I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
maybe?
Weird. Yeah, I think Discord just reset for no reason. What the fuck?
F in the chat.
Weird.
You cut out the part when you said, yeah, I think it cost Maddox, and then
Okay.
we didn't hear.
Oh, did I
So
die
what
again?
what all did we No, that was someone else. What else
Okay.
did we discuss today? Because it went on for so long, and I'm
It was
kind
like
of lost.
sex. It was like all sex.
Is sex fun?
And Berserk.
I mean, I
Berserk
know
is
we
also
talked
fun.
about anal for that.
I can just call it the anal cast.
The anal Berserk cast.
Oh, the fucking what's the guy who raped Guts called?
Donovan.
Donovan cast. That's the name.
Donovan
No,
Cast.
no.
That's fucking atrocious.
Rip Guts, man.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Guts, but Guts didn't deserve any of it. Guts gonna destroy God. I swear to
Let's
God.
just call this the Guts cast, I guess.
Is
Is that
Struggler cast.
No, it's just Guts cast. I've decided
Alright, that makes
it's called
sense.
Guts cast.
Casts are fun. This was
Casts
fun.
are fun. Okay, I'm gonna
When's
stop recording
episode
now.
2?
See, once we got things rolling, it was easy.
Yeah.